I bet.
Yeah, everybody knows.
You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Sam. Hello,
Hello,
Paco. Hello,
Cory.
Big
Hello,
Balls.
Paco. Hello, Big Balls.
Hello.
Are you guys
Hello.
getting feedback? Are you guys getting feedback? I'm getting feedback. Hello, Paco.
I can
You
hear
sound
like,
great, Cory.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
No, it's sorry. It was Sam repeating everything I was saying. So
Oh,
I thought
there
that was
you
just
go.
feedback.
Oh, dude, that's a good joke.
Yeah, you like that? I
Wow.
just made that up, actually. I made it up. Actually, I have new notes here. I was
Yeah.
writing it on the Matt Field coloring book, so I was actually drawing dingers on every picture of Matt Field in his coloring book.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing
Wow.
all day. What did you do all day, Sam?
That's so funny because I was just erasing dingers on the Matt Field coloring book because the version that I had was probably like a prototype version, very X-rated. It was just a bunch of photos of Matt Field with his dinger out.
Oh, yeah.
very uncomfortable positions.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Anyways, speaking of people with their dingers out, Jeff Jones, looks like you're at a truck stop there and you made a friend. For those that are audio only version, Jeff's got a truck full of truck drivers.
Oh boy.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, hey.
Stop.
How you
Oh,
doing?
cool.
Wait,
You don't have any truck drivers in your truck, but you do have, is that Leonardo, Raphael,
Got my friend,
Donatello?
man. Raphael, dog.
All right.
You actually sound
So-
better with that helmet on.
Just keep it on.
Yeah.
Does this work better?
Yeah, it's much better. So for
here to
those that
party.
are audio only, right now Jeff Jones is turtle heading.
A little bit. Waiting for the show to start. Turtle heading.
All right, so Jeff, what's with the Ninja Turtle mask? We saw that thing at FD Seattle. You and Kyle Mohan, the new troublemaker squad in town. You guys were causing a ruckus.
A little bit. I mean, it started off as getting to the track and doing what every race team does. You go to Walmart. It's
Sure.
the first thing you do.
Obviously,
And
yeah.
cruising the streets in Walmart, you know how we do. Found this guy just trolling along by himself. I'm like, we got to hang out. So scooped up Raphael.
Mhm.
Couldn't afford the rest of the crew, so he matched my color scheme, so I brought him with me.
The good news is there's probably a Walmart in St. Louis, and you can start building out your turtle squad, and that way you can turtle head whenever you need to.
Yeah.
Slowly get the turtle head on.
I like your turtleneck.
Yeah. And Jeff is also wearing his racing suit in his truck at the truck stop. Did you take that thing off since Saturday, or are you still just...
I just wear it all the time now. I
pissing in that
just
thing
stay
a
with
lot?
Hey, Jeff,
You got a little hose. Comes up the bottom.
be a little nice. Can you move your camera a little bit to your right if you don't mind? Thank you, sir. And
yeah.
now we can see your face, but
There
there you go.
Oh,
All right.
there you go. Hey.
Much
Oh, it's
better.
beautiful.
Well, I've
Nice.
got this like makeshift light going on because I'm in a dark truck ear stop area.
I'm scared of truckers, dude. Like people who drive trucks, like they have like dark. In the insides are always dark, and they have like glowing lights. Like
Yeah,
they-
looks like Jeff.
They've got dark insides.
Small
you know.
parties going along.
yeah.
Jeff's in danger.
Well, speaking of party,
Got Raphael.
I'm just gonna pour myself this drink that I just
here we go.
created.
Okay, what is it?
I call it a Dr. Jones.
Okay.
No. We call it a Doc bomb.
No,
A Jack Daniels and Doc? That's a Doc bomb?
I'm just
Is that
That is
the
a Doc
is
bomb.
that the care package that,
I'm
that
just
Jeff
gonna-
sent you? Jeff texted me on Sunday and he said, "What's Paco's address?"
Look at
And
this.
and I guess that's what
Do you know
got,
what I call
right?
that drink? You know what I call a Jack Daniels and Doc? I call it a Doc Sucker.
Doc Sucker?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So Paco's pouring his first Doc Sucker. Okay.
Usually
let's-
Paco only drinks. All right, don't tell.
50-50 ratio, Paco.
Well, don't tell
50-50.
Paco
You
this.
know it.
So
What do you do with
usually,
shots?
when we get Paco a beer, like it's an O'Doul's or a
Yep.
Gazima.
Okay, here we go.
So
Paco's finally
he's
taking his
actually
first sip.
never.
Paco's taking a sip, and
He's never had an actual drink
no, he
before.
hasn't.
So
Okay.
This
Oh,
might
this is
be
gonna be
weird.
interesting.
Okay. Would you break down what's happening in your mouth right now?
There's a gay party in my mouth.
Oh.
wow.
Okay. Go ahead.
I
break
mean,
it down.
and by that I mean the party's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, you mean that like in a Shakespearean way, and like everyone is joyous.
Yeah, the party was gay. Everybody was having the most amazing time. Is that
Everyone's kung fu fighting?
Well, that's wonderful that you're
Yeah.
having a good time, Paco.
Yes.
Jeff,
no, it's actually
don't-
pretty good.
Okay. So what does it taste like? Tell us what it tastes like.
It tastes like 72 flavors plus Jack Daniels and
Hey.
energy.
Let me see that thing. Let me just
Okay,
get it.
here it comes.
Let me see this.
Passing it to Cory.
Get on that, Cory.
Jeff, are you drinking and driving today?
Maybe later.
I just saw some lightning in the background, man. You might be going into a storm.
I know. I might just have to park and then just finish off the Kyle's JD bottle.
Hey.
Hey,
got Doc.
Where are you at currently?
Nebraska.
What are you
Some
doing in
lonely truck
Nebraska?
Well,
Aren't
he
you
said
going
that
the
he's
wrong way?
driving back from Seattle to LA, and I think he got lost.
A little bit. Got lost. Wrong turn somewhere.
It reminds me of like that movie clip out of Dumb and Dumber where they're heading to Aspen and they go the wrong
Turtle
way.
said go left.
The turtle said go left.
Yeah. We went left.
I want to bring up something. I know we got to talk about the weekend because you had a really good weekend. But I want to bring something up. It was one of my highlight moments of you, actually. And it was your interview with Lorette saying that you were going to take the Edelbrock Supercharger somewhere that we knew about. And you were so close. we picked it up. We got what you're throwing down. But
yeah.
can you relive that? Can
I
you-
think that was a problem. That's why Jeff lost the next battle because you prematurely took off his supercharger of the car.
Yep.
It sounded
And
like
we even mentioned during the AM Intakes halftime show that Jeff promised us on a last edition of last time you were on our show here that you did promise us that you would rip off the supercharger and bring it to the podium when you eventually get up there.
That's going to happen. We've got the tools off to the side ready for that.
Perfect.
Especially labeled.
Yeah.
Edelbrock trophy.
Can
Hell
you
yeah.
can you tell us about the interview? Why you just didn't say I'm going to take this Edelbrock Supercharger to the podium?
Hey, well, maybe you don't know, Cory. When you make it to the top 8, it's exciting. And I had no idea what to do with my hands or my speech or anything else. And I just got interviewed by, like, the TV crew. I don't know what other crew. And then Lorette came over, and then I was just pumped. I was just way too pumped. That's what came out, man.
You had
That's all I had.
chugged like 13 docks that
Yeah.
morning.
I was hyped. A lot of dock bombs.
A lot of dock bombs.
Yeah, I did. It was definitely like your interview was more of like a confused, like, we're gonna. Well, I'm just gonna rip this supercharger off. You guys know where we're gonna take it.
Yeah.
First time 16 in Seattle. It's
I
awesome.
can't even rewatch that, man. My wife, she likes to embarrass me. She puts it on just to make me
Oh yeah.
cringe.
I
Oh,
would.
I loved it.
I
But
would-
that's when we fell in love with you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would actually consider you one of the best interviewees I've ever met because it is just so organic that you just don't know what you're going to get when you interview
Yeah.
Jeff, and that's
He-
what
Yeah, I don't like practicing anything. Never works.
We
Can't
didn't-
say the same thing twice.
Didn't even took off his helmet the first time. You could feel like, oh my god, I'll take this Hellback Super Challenge to the podium. Get, like, you guys ready for that?
and the rest like, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, like, back to you, boys.
Hey, I didn't grab the mic. I left it.
Yeah, because
I
you were
like that.
grabbing,
That
you were grabbing the
jerk.
shifter, just ready to go.
I was.
Yeah.
It's top 8, man. You know those things go fast. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom,
Unlike
boom, boom.
Matt Van Jerk grabbing the microphone, you were calm and collected.
Yeah, very common.
Well, how long?
Ready to party.
Hey, so, hey, Jeff, how long have you been in Formula Drift for?
This is actually my 10th year.
I could see why you're so good at interviews now. You've been doing it for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
guys.
Whatever comes to the tongue.
So
What, Paco?
we just had a super chat, $5 super chat from Piston Hand Productions.
That's our buddy.
Our-
That's Jacob.
Our buddy Jacob. Thanks, buddy. It's shit. You know what? Wait, it's 5 Canadian. So what's that like 150?
Like
don't know.
$2.
Yeah,
Maybe.
$2. Okay,
So
that's
anyway,
fine.
before we get to the question, what this is YouTube super chat. If you are on the YouTube watching live right now, you can give a small donation to the podcast, and we will get to your question immediately. All right, what's Jeff got to say? Or not Jeff, excuse me. What's Jacob got to say?
Jacob's asking, what is the craziest thing you have done to afford to drift? AKA,
God.
how many cans of...
Before the show, Jeff was talking about eating ass, I think. Was that right?
What is this show rated?
Well, he is in a truck
NC7.
stop right now. He's actually working right now.
truck rated?
Yeah.
You know, prior to Doc helping me out, there was some rough times. There was some rough times back in the day.
Yeah, so what'd you do?
I can't say that I went as far as June Ming, on rough times, but
Oh, boy.
Have you...
I definitely, I'm familiar with truck stops.
How many...
June Man killed a guy.
How many cans of Doc have you smurfed in a row?
Well, I don't think anyone would pay him for that. I think he does that for fun.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the fun part, bro.
What have you ever? What's like? I mean, what sort of odd jobs have you taken on the side? What sort of shit have you done to get FT money?
Oh man, I do whatever people will allow me to do. Have you seen what my Instagram?
Well, what? So you still have somewhat of a day job right now, right? What are you doing on the day today?
I have like 4 different jobs. I'm a lighting and audio technician for concerts. I've been doing that since I was like 14.
Yeah.
Mechanic stuff at my own shop when I'm there. Teaching drift up at Drift 101 with Naoki.
Yep.
So whenever I'm available and people hit me up, it's one of those 3 things usually. If I'm not working on the streets,
Yeah. That's awesome though. You're a hustler. You get the jobs done. And you're, there's all levels of dudes in FT still in Pro 1, which is one of the reasons why we love it. And, I don't think anyone isn't working 40 to 80 hours a week. That's in Pro 1.
No,
Everyone's hustling.
exactly. Everyone's got to hustle, man. Everyone has day jobs and they still hustle. Even the top guys with all their money, they're hustling their ass off. So they're just hustling probably more than everybody else.
Yeah, just different kind of hustle. But,
Yeah.
you're one of the old school hustlers, which, by the way, I think when Jared named you Junkyard Jones, he wasn't being insulting. I think he was saying that you're scrappy and resourceful. But he made it sound like you don't want to be Junkyard anymore. Do you want to be a different kind of Jeff Jones now?
Well, I'm trying to build, a pretty badass car this year, especially.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good parts, like that Edelbrock coming on.
Hey.
CR built us a really crazy engine this year, so
Yeah.
I've got some good stuff on my car. So it's definitely nowhere near junkyard parts. This is all
Yeah.
really good
Well, I don't
stuff.
think it was ever the parts. I think it was a scrappy behavior and attitude which we liked. But
Well, also-
what's your new nickname? Do we need to give it to you?
I don't know, man. What do you got?
I'm sure by the end of the show we'll come up with something.
I know. He calls himself El Jefe Jones.
Yeah, I stick with that sometimes.
I
Nobody
mean-
can find me when I put it on Facebook, though.
Yeah.
What about Turtlehead?
I think you gotta be Turtlehead Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
Indiana
you're kind of
Tur-
owning that thing.
You should be Indiana
Yeah.
Turtlehead Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Turtlehead is kind of his own entity. He rides in the car. He's going to be in passenger seat for the rest of the year at least, until Formula D makes a rule that that's not allowed.
Okay.
And well, right now I've been getting in all the carpool lanes with the truck, so it's
Do you-
working out pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Do you always wear your racing suit when driving your truck?
Constantly, bro.
Do you know what? I want to. I do want to hear about the Junkyard Era. Like, were you a pretty scrappy dude back in the day? Were you pretty
Oh, yeah.
resourceful? Can you give us a
Well,
rundown on like what some stuff you used to go through to get to the track?
So when I got into drifting, it's pretty much just me and my mom's, and me and her were pretty much splitting rent, taking care of each other.
Yep.
And definitely did not have the daddy bucks that a good amount of the teams have coming into it. So I had an RX-7. It was an FC3S. That was kind of my first ride. And Piggy Part was down the street. It was actually the same Piggy Part that Chris filmed his video at, where he was exploding all the powder things.
NOS proximity, really?
Yep, that's
crazy.
that Piggy Part. So that actual parking lot is where I learned how to drift. And,
No shit, that's cool.
And then so I would always go grab some parts from there, just make it work. And then when we were trying to figure things out, the cool thing about Piggy Part was you could just go in there with your tools, and if you wanted to figure out if an engine swap worked, if you had the time, you'd literally just take parts off and swap it onto different cars right there and see what worked. So
You would do engine swaps on junkyard cars just to see if they'd fit.
maybe not to that full extent, but
Pretty close to it.
brake calipers, maybe different clutch. Because I mean, that's how else people found out that the 300ZX stuff fit a 240. So
Yeah.
in that range.
Well, that's pretty cool. Wait, were you one of the pioneers of putting 300Z calipers and shit on 240s?
No, I don't think I was a pioneer of that. I think right now I'm probably a pioneer of putting 300ZX stuff on a 370Z. And
Hey!
I know everyone's giving me crap about it, and they're like, why would you put older brakes, smaller brakes on a 370? Like, well, we don't really use our brakes, It's a left foot braking a little bit, but we don't actually need them to stop, so I'm not really worried about them heating them up. So it works perfect. So I think I am pioneering on that.
Yeah.
And, it works well with what I got going on.
See, the Junkyard Jeff that I remember is the Junkyard Jeff that had a yellow suit, that always had his sleeves pulled up, that open tray.
I don't want to get my yellow suit dirty. I had to work on the car a lot, so I left the sleeves up.
And then I remember when you transformed from a yellow suit to an actually branded suit, which was the CX Racing and the AEM suit. And I was like,
Yeah,
damn.
that was actually your boys that hooked me up with that.
I was like, damn, Jeff looks sharp right now. You had this the slow change into what you have became, which is a full size grown man baby.
That's like one of the things from this season. You came up with a 370Z, which is looking pretty cool. And I mean, I even made a post a long time ago. I was calling that you had the best looking, the coolest looking racing suit for this season.
Yeah,
And
I put a lot of effort into this guy.
You mean
cool, got it all laced up.
you did a maximum effort?
Yeah, maximum effort.
There
I
you go.
kind of roll with this. I don't know if you can see this Deadpool wallet right here.
There you go.
It had a little bit of inspiration.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I actually designed the suit for last year, and it was not ready in time. So luckily enough,
Do you
because
you sew it
quite a few
by
sponsors
hand?
changed,
Yeah.
we were able to switch it up for this year, and it looks even better with
Yeah.
the guys that came on board.
Well, I don't know if I forget if you debuted that info on our show, but I remember last time you were on, you're at least talking about building this current car. And is this your most successul season? Has it worked out for you?
I think I talked about building a new car. I don't think
Yeah.
I was talking about this car. This
Okay.
was actually a fluke. I was looking at building a new Camaro. That was
Yeah.
my goal. I looked into buying Conrad's car, Tyler's car. They both A, wanted way too much money, and B, both told me not to do it. They're just like, look, it's a very expensive car. I'd rather just sell it to somebody else, and it's just a big old honking pig of a car. It's not very competitive. So they're like, if you're going to do it, you got to get the newer Camaro chassis.
Yeah.
And so we looked into that, and as I was looking for that, I found one, and I sent the picture over to old school Formula D driver Chris Milano, and he's like, man, I have something better for you. Come check this out. And then he had this car, which was in a Van Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme Netflix movie or something like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So I bought this sucker pretty cheap, and no motor, no tranny, and then went to town from there. Richard Kong over there at Megan Racing, he helped me to put the cage in and do it up. So
Yeah,
he loves doing cages. So if anybody wants a cage, hit up Richard Kong, because he really loved doing the cage in this car.
Are you joking? Did he hate it?
Oh, he loved it, man. Hit up Richard Kong at Megan Racing.
Can you tell if Van Damme did the splits on top of your car?
He may have, but I don't know. There was no dent on the roof, so I don't think so.
From
What
his,
was
from
already
his heavy
done
balls?
to the car when you got it?
Chunk.
It actually had the Akibono brakes and some coilovers, but I sold those because it didn't need them. Had sponsors for that stuff, and I didn't want those brakes because they're too damn big and heavy. So that was actually how I got the car even cheaper. So
Nice.
realistically, it was just a gutted car, I'd say.
Yeah.
Didn't really have anything going on, and we built it in about 4 months. So it was a quick build. Realistically, didn't have any time to test. Testing actually happened pretty much at Long Beach. So I'd say every single run has been seen on camera. 'Cause it's all been at Long Beach, or it's all been at Formula D.
Yeah. Well, I think.
So-
sorry, Sam.
Oh, I was gonna say, have you had time to test outside of the rounds, or are you still just
No, I
pretty
haven't
much?
had any time to do any actual testing. Everything is at Formula D within those 12 lap boundaries. I did a demo at Rockford Speedway with Kyle not too long ago for Doc, and we got to do a few laps. That's not really testing. That was just
Right.
doing some fun, cool stuff. But yeah, I haven't done any actual testing yet. But I have the PBM Powered by Max suspension on there, and it's pretty traditional style of suspension design. It's not like the WiseFab stuff that's, let's just say, takes a little bit of time to learn how to drive that, maybe.
Yeah.
And so the PBM stuff is traditional. I think it works really well. And I like to hit things, and I know that they make their stuff nice and beefy. That's kind of why I'd say I had to beg them to help me out a little bit, but they hopped on board and sent me some spares, luckily, because they knew I'd need it. That little incident in Jersey wasn't too kind.
Yeah.
But their stuff works great. I threw it in the car. Literally everything about it worked perfectly. And so in the Edelbrock stuff, you saw a learning curve last year, right? With the S14. That car definitely had, let's say, either a head gasket issue that I had at one point, belts jumping off at certain other points. And that was just, we threw that on the S14 kind of last minute. You know, sponsors always do. They kind of come in right at the end of March. And it's like, here you go, run this. And so it's very hard when you don't have time to actually test all this. So that was the learning curve with the Edelbrock stuff. And this year we haven't had any problems with it. That thing's been perfect. So the car's been pretty easy to drive for the most part.
Yeah.
That's how I've been able to just adapt it and be able to run it. Whereas I think like, Taylor Hall, he's got to be having a much harder time with trying to develop a Cadillac,
Well, him and Federico obviously have very difficult, untested, unsupported chassis to work with, and thankfully there's at least a bit of support for the Z. Have you talked to Forsberg at all in setting up, or are you just kind of raw dogging it?
So actually at the beginning...
Thanks, Paco.
At the beginning of the year, Forsberg actually hooked me up with all of his parts. The doors on my car are off of his car.
Yeah.
So I actually had his doors, front bumper, hood, rear bumper. And I was going to rock all that. And I did have a picture that I obviously cannot put up, but I took pictures with my car with all the Forsberg stuff on it so I could fanboy out a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure your drink sponsor would have loved that.
Yeah, probably not. But it was kind of cool to do. And then
well, that's exciting though, because I think I actually have the steering tie rods off of the same car on my S14. So we're like Eskimo brothers.
There you go. So he was nice enough to hook it up, and he gave me some advice on a few things to do. So he was cool enough for that. But actually, the dudes at Extreme Dimensions Duraflex, they hooked me up with the super wide body kit that's on the car now. So that's what it ended up. I think the only thing I kept from his car was the doors. And then I went with everything Duraflex around the car, the hood. And man, I did not know that thing was going to be so wide.
Yeah.
Because my S14, I believe, was like 80 inches in the rear. And now this thing is like 84 inches in the rear. It's much wider. I literally
She got a big old butt.
She got a big old butt. Like even the front wheels, I have to change to smaller front wheels just to get it in the trailer.
Yeah, really?
Monster truck. That's why if you see my car at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, it's got some white track light wheels on it, and I have to switch those out to the gold track light wheels every time.
Damn.
So yeah, it's monster truck style.
So I'm seeing not only in the car, of course, but also like in personality. Even since we last talked to you, I feel like I'm talking to I don't want to say more mature because you're still like a little kid, obviously, but
he's
a more, professional isn't the right word either. I feel like you've grown up a bit though. Like I feel like you have grown as a race car driver and as a team owner and team.
Also,
racer.
I would say it seems like we have a personality and a character. I think we have a real Jeff Jones here. I think we have somebody that's super relatable. He's much more outspoken. He wasn't just this soft character that would be the junkyard man. He's somebody you can connect and relate to.
I think I was always kind of loud, but what has really allowed me to be more outspoken is getting sponsored by Doc. Is they're, how do I say it? They're a division of Pepsi, but not a division of Pepsi. They're a WizPack distribution product, but basically they came on board and they did a lot of my marketing. And the guy Zach that runs it over there, he was able to really show me a direction that we needed to go with some of the videos and stuff, and and obviously having some money and a company doing marketing for you, that took a good amount off my shoulders. And now we're able to do some more things, approach bigger companies like Edelbrock. So I think I'm not just trying to keep this car together anymore. I'm actually able to be a driver and a personality. So that's definitely the struggle that, a newer driver is going to have to go through when they're trying to just fund everything themselves.
Definitely. But you stuck with it for a long time, and obviously you had highs and lows.
I took the turtle approach.
Yeah, slow and steady.
Essentially, because I have never used a credit card in Formula D.
Wow, really?
This truck is a 2004 truck that I bought last year with some cash, and I did do a personal loan on it. And, my wife has decided that we need to build credit, so that's kind of why I have credit cards now, and did a loan on this truck so we can actually acquire a house one day.
Yeah.
So, but the rule of thumb for me was I'm not going to spend anything on credit cards that I cannot pay back, because I have a lot of friends that came to Formula D and they were just throwing like 30 to 60 grand at it and just hoping something would stick. And some of those dudes are still paying it off.
Right.
And it's just not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just hope that everything was going to be magical and someone was going to come sponsor me, because I know it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I didn't do that. I just, I do everything within my means. I don't go have steak if I can't afford steak. I'll have some Vienna sausage if that's what it calls for, and that's just how I do it. I don't go outside of my means. I just try to make this happen with what I got.
It's funny you mentioned steak, because I do this before like big shoot days, and even this last Saturday I decided to do like a steak and eggs breakfast, because I know I'm not probably going to eat till dinner at the very worst. And I had steak and eggs. I don't want to mention where. And then I got food poisoning. So this Saturday, I get to the track, and immediately I start feeling like nauseous and shaky and like about to pass out. And then like I'm making my first initial rounds through the pit, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm going to throw up and pass out. Like as I'm like talking to some person that I'm just meeting for the first time. And then I pretty much hid in the judge's booth for a few hours and survived and pushed on. And I was almost good by the halftime show, but nothing like traveling across the country and like building up all this anticipation for pretty much 20 minutes of on-air time, and then like ruining it with a steak and eggs that the steak was bad.
I hope that you took that to Vaughn's personal little outhouse that he has next to his trailer.
I did not. Well, here's in full disclosure, like food poisoning I've gotten in the past. One time when I worked at Boston Market back in the day when I was doing the 16-year-old hustle, I ate a bunch of old counter meat, essentially, for lack of a better term, because I was hungry and poor.
Discount.
And I was like, I'm going to eat this discount meat. And then I literally lost all of my fluids through my mouth and butt for 3 days. This time, none of that happened. I didn't have the evacuation. I just had intense sweatiness and upset, and like felt like I was going to pass out. Like it was a weird food poisoning, but I can't attribute it to anything else. I don't know.
The best part is that we were already talking about Cory shitting himself during the halftime show.
Yeah, we actually, before the halftime show, everybody asked, do we do scripts or write anything up? And we actually don't. This time we were actually talking about how cool it would be if one of us shit our pants during the halftime show.
So we were already talking about Cory doing it, but then, like, it was probably going to happen for real with Sam.
Yeah, so we fell back because we jinxed it.
Yeah, so I thought, you know what, maybe I should puke. Sam shits himself, and Cory, just...
Yeah, I just sit there and enjoy it next to Sam.
Yeah, I mean, just for variety. It's a variety show.
But I think we still had our best show yet, and I opened it, and unfortunately you can't hear it online right now because we had an audio difficulty in the back end there for the first 2 minutes of the show. But I opened the show by introducing Paco as Spanish Fred Durst.
Yep, Mexican Fred Durst.
Yeah, Mexican Fred Durst, which I think, even though I said the day prior I was going to do it, I think it caught Paco off guard, and we lighten the load for the rest of the show.
I totally forgot about it until you said it on the show. So it totally got me off guard. But
Cory,
sadly, nobody heard that.
What?
Cory, while we're on the topic, do you want to talk about what's going on with you at St. Louis or not?
I don't know. I was kind of going. I was thinking if we should have Lorette on for 5 minutes next episode.
Yeah, well, we need to do a full up with Lorette sometime soon, anyways. But I guess we'll hold off then. We'll hold off. But Cory's got some big, exciting stuff going on. Are you still going to be doing the halftime show?
Me?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you're somewhat.
No, I'm
exciting
gonna be.
that.
Because I mean,
Gonna
if you,
remotely do it.
yeah, because if you leave, I mean, we can have the new Jeff Jones joining us.
Well, only if he gets knocked out in 32, which he is not going to, because he's going to
Not the
be
plan.
fucking
No, I'm
taking
talking
that
about-
Edelbrocker supercharger
I'm
to the
talking
top
about
of that podium.
Permanently.
Plan.
Permanently. You know, Jeff, you're moving to Arizona. You're going to be doing this shit
Out over there,
every
man.
week.
Will I be allowed in Jared's pool? That's
Absolutely.
The stipulation.
Oh,
Everyone's
absolutely. Yep.
glad in Jared's pool.
So actually, I want to get back on the topic of drifting a little bit.
Yeah, and also
I'm
keep
not
it in your mind, Cory. We
Why
still
would
need
you
to do
talk about
our FT Seattle recap. So I don't want to let the episode get too late because I do want to talk about some battles. So
Yeah.
but
This
let's
is
steer it there.
since we're talking about Jeff and we brought up the junkyard stuff and things like that, and obviously Jeff is kind of like this new Jeff that we haven't seen because he's not focusing on just.
he let his hair down. He took off
Yep.
his glasses. He got a makeover.
Yep. I'm curious to go back to Jeff Jones' 10 years. Actually, let's go Jeff Jones.
Middle. Nope.
The first 8 years of Jeff Jones racing. Let's go back to that era a little bit. And your struggles, you trying to pick up sponsors, and there was one point where you didn't have any tire sponsors, and I remember you didn't even run a tire sticker on your car. You kind of always were kind of being tossed around back and forth sponsor-wise. Why were you always kind of treated in the sense of, you're always the last one to try to pick something up? But what was like the first 8 years of sponsorship like for you? And
Well,
why do you
I
think
think
you were
there's
treated
a-
that way?
There's a deception that you see in Formula D. I refused to pay for tires, so I didn't run a sticker. And back when we had 60 plus characters in Formula D, I mean, even as of now, you've got drivers that are still paying for tires. So you've got, let's just say, anything past the bottom 25 are paying for tires. And I just refused to do that. So there were some guys who, they'd stay loyal to a brand, hoping that they would eventually get picked up. They put the stickers, paid for it, and all that stuff. But then they went broke and got out of the sport. So that kind of happened there. But yeah, that's why it may have seemed like I got tossed around a few tire companies. But realistically, I was on Cooper for a while, Hankook for a little bit, Nexen, and that was more of just following Paul Joe when he switched around.
Yep.
From working from different companies. So that's kind of why that switch happened. And then we actually, like me and Forsberg, we both had full plans with Hankook this year. And, that got tossed out. And
Very late
switched
in
over
the
to-
season.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
After
late.
SEMA,
My car was built. All kinds
yeah.
of stuff was happening. But at the same rate, I could not be happier at this point because Falcons
Yeah.
are badass and they are family over there.
Well, so the other
I
thing
couldn't
too,
be happier.
Well,
Yeah,
Falcon
no,
also right now
well-
is, Cory, real quick. Falcon is, I think, dominating the tire championship, right?
They
I
have
mean,
the
between-
best food. So
Between James and Peter and Justin, that's 3 of the top 5 drivers right now.
yeah,
And then Jeff Jones fucking adding his points in the
Yeah.
back there.
taking some people down.
Taking some people down, man.
but
Well, that was the problem. Is I went up against Matt Field like 3 times. So rather it was Falcon on Falcon either way.
Yeah.
Top 32.
But
Right.
I didn't want to just end on the tire deal, but it was just like
Yeah.
in those first 8 years, we never seen that budget roll into your program. We
well,
never seen
I'll tell you without saying a bunch of names.
Right.
I made some mistakes when I first got sponsored by some companies. Things were cheaper back then, right, in 2009. And they asked me, how much does it cost you to do a round? And I didn't really think of logistics of, let's just say real logistics. I was like, well,
Right.
I probably spent like $1,000 in that round.
Oh my
And
gosh!
so they're like, all right, cool, we'll give you $1,000 a round. I'm like, cool.
Oh.
And then you start really writing down the logistics of everything you spend.
Yeah.
This is still 2009 when gas was like $1.50 to travel
Yeah.
the country. Hotel, everything was cheaper back then, slightly. So the budget has increased every year, but you can find yourself stuck. And this is just like a job, right? You're only making X amount of dollars a year. They're going to keep paying you the same amount. And it's like, why should they give you more? So I was under the thumb there for a little bit with a few companies and not able to progress. What I think that I did not do, what I did not take advantage of, was I didn't utilize those companies as best as I could, as far as some of the parts that they had or possibly reselling stuff. at the time I was more naive and just kind of figured, hey, give me more money, I'll go do bigger things, not realizing the self-investment that needed to be made, and possibly selling parts and going out in that direction. So that's something different that I now know of.
So and that's leading up to these past 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see a more professional Jeff Jones. We see more approachable Jeff Jones. We're starting seeing the livery start to develop. We see Jeff in a good suit.
Well, like I said,
a
lot of that is from Doc.
Right. No, and so obviously a lot of
Cory,
credit
real
goes to
quick,
Doc.
Before we get too far away from it, because I do want to mention, like, obviously Falcon hooked up Jeff. I do want to mention, and also full disclosure, sponsor of the halftime show, Nexen. The fact that they also came in, that Falcon and Nexen came in so late in the season and kept some of our favorite drivers alive, like that was a cool move on their part because their budgets were already set pretty much.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm like the ninth driver on Falcon.
Yeah, it's like the fact that Nexen and Falcon, competitors on the track, still pulled it out, and they got some of our favorite people in the game, because there was a moment there, and only because I'm so close to the Forsberg program at Race Service, like there's a moment where everyone's like, holy shit, are we going to run this year? Like that is a large slice of the income. So yeah, good on those guys for making it happen for you.
Yep. Now kind of go.
I definitely have to say thank you to Steve over there at Falcon. He's the one that brought me on, and I had a little side deal with Falcon that I was able to work out with them.
Yeah.
So reached outside the box a little bit, and that guy's what brought me on. So super cool guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that, man, because it definitely helps. But what I was going to is obviously the first 8 years of your career has kind of been the ones that, like you said, you're taking that turtle approach, just that long, slow approach, not breaking the bank, just doing enough to get out there and compete. Had some good times, had some bad times, but you were still showing up consistently. And I think that's what a lot of the sponsors look like, is they can always count on Jeff getting there. No matter how good or how bad he does, he will still show up and drive. But going to these last 2 years, once again, your car's developed, you look way more professional. How are now companies approaching you now that you have a better presentation, a better look, a more presentable car? Have you noticed a difference on how companies are treating you with what you've done in the past 2 years? And what's some things that you've noticed?
Well, definitely they're more open to discuss a possibility. I cannot say that people are running to me, flocking to me. I still have to outreach to them.
People is not throwing money at you?
People have heard my name now. So now that people, I have all the videos that we've done with Doc, and we've done with picking up Wisdom Productions this year. They've done a bunch of cool videos for us. So with that, I think just the name is out there, and so they're more open to answering the phone and listening to what we've got to say.
And the only reason I ask that is because, you see a lot of people, and I'm sure you've seen this quite a bit, is, they have this old ratted out car and, no driving suit. It just the equipment is not up to par with what's happening in the series, and how that could affect you potentially getting the resources you need. So by having a professional looking as you can program could open a lot more doors to you. And you don't have to have tons of money to have a professional looking operating team, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, definitely spending the effort to do it. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, one of the things that's helped me a lot this year is there realistically only being 30, 32 drivers. I was one of those drivers who was always probably like in 20th to 20, or 32nd position. And back when we had 60 drivers, they would always cut it at 30. So there'd be like the top 30 practice session and then the bottom 30 practice session. And so I'd be like at the top of that list, but you got guys constantly wrecking, constantly blowing engines up or whatever. So you don't get any practice time. So your entire day is based around trying to get, your car to work out of the 4 laps that you had, and you don't get the time to focus on the rest of your program. So now with the 12 laps, I'm actually a fan of it. I wouldn't mind bumping it up to 16 laps, but I'm a fan of the way that the sport is now, that there's a Pro 2, and those guys have an area that they can grow, and now the core top drivers have a better area that they can grow. And I think all of our programs have grown in the last few years.
Well, I think that's what's going to be the attraction for new companies wanting to step in, is they want to see, you can look at any other form of motorsports and just the way that they operate. It's a great show. It's entertaining. The fans are engaged. It takes everything to make more resources, more money to come in for Pro 1 guys all the way to Pro Am guys. Obviously, if it's a lawnmower circle track race, it's like you're not going to get much investment if that's what the perception is. But with drifting, you know, everybody's stepping up. New cars, new drivers, newer rigs. All of that makes it easier for Ford to bring in money, or Nissan to bring in money, or Pepsi to bring in money. They want to invest into something like that. And I think now it's getting to that point where the structure's there, the equipment's getting better, and the level of talent in Top 32 is just unreal.
Yeah, it's definitely unreal. And that's part of what you were saying about, you know, newer stuff. That's why I needed a 370. It wasn't that I felt that my S14 was no longer a good car. It realistically never had any crazy wrecks. So, and, you know, of course, James Dean and Peter out there killing it in S15s. It's essentially the same car as an S14. So it's a great chassis. I just needed something to help me on my marketing level. So the 370Z was the newest thing that we could really get ourselves into. And that was, you know, trying to step it up in that aspect. The fact that it's a great car that works good with the parts that I was provided by my sponsors, you know, that's a plus.
Well, it's really cool, though, to hear that, as we've talked about it on the show quite a bit, of course, is getting to a more modern, sponsorable ride. And you are a case study in the success of that. Like, we haven't actually had someone that can literally show that this has been a successful tactic for them. So.
Yeah, slow approach, but working. I mean,
yeah.
There's you know, even like, you know, Alec Hollindale, I don't think he's shy about saying that they had spent a good amount of their own money at the beginning of their couple of years, buying tires and, you know, really investing. And look at that guy now. He's killing it.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
But that's not everybody, you know. He's a good driver and did really well, and he benefited from that. Same thing like Matt Kaufman, you know. But there's a lot of guys who spend the money, and maybe their talent's not ready. Maybe they got into it too early, and it didn't work out for them. So it's all got to match up.
Definitely. And there's, of course, not just skill and devotion and long nights and long hours, but it's also probably a bit of luck in that whole timing thing. But luck is, as many say, like, it's about being in the right place at the right time and being able to harness that opportunity when it arises. So it's not just being in the right place at the right time. It's also being able to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah. Like being behind Matt Field as he's doing his interview for live stream.
Yeah, that's a good segue there. You and Mohan decided to do your best Fortnite dances there.
Yeah.
Which by the way, so what have you done to poor Kyle Mohan?
Yeah, he used to be so nice.
Me and that guy teamed up this year because we just found ourselves at all the tracks at the same time, traveling up. He's from Long Beach, so he's only 40 minutes south of me. And we decided to try to help each other out and team up this year. Found out a few interesting things. We found out that we couldn't get more money for ourselves, but we can give each other money from our sponsors by trading. So we did a little bit of that.
Oh, cool.
We're pushing each other's marketing, tagging each other and everything. It's probably the same thing that Chris and Ryan and Vaughn have been doing the whole time, but
right.
You know,
but
you
you're
just
bigger
kinda
than
need
those
a few
guys.
buddies to do it with. And you know, I'll tell you, like when we came from Wisconsin to go to Washington, or actually I think it was our trip to go to Jersey to Wisconsin. It was kind of like the Step Brothers, where at some point we built bunk beds and just found out we were best friends.
That was awesome.
We're just being idiots, having a great time. And he's a really good business guy. He's really smart, super educated, and I'm just a goofy dude. So we're kind of just throwing these, you know, things at each other, and I think it's working out really well.
Definitely.
So, and
It's
I'm teaching him how to dance. We're working on a few things.
Oh my god! How long?
It took some convincing.
He is very white.
Dude,
like twin turbo white.
he looked like the Tin Man out there dancing. He was just stiff as a board. But how long were you guys friends before this, and how did this conversation come up?
Well, I met Kyle before Formula D. I met Kyle when he had his first gen RX-7 with a 12A, and he was at Irwindale. And I just walked up to him because I was into rotaries at the same time, and you know, we talked. And then ever since then, it was same thing with kind of like Justin Pollock, is just that mutual rotary problem that everyone has. So you start talking because those things are bad for you. I'm trying to convince him to get away, but I can't help him. He's cursed. But we just, you know, we're talking, and then like I said, last year we just found ourselves hanging out a lot more, add all the tracks together. And I wanted him to do some of the demos with me, but he couldn't because his car was on Matt Field's rig. So that's why me and Justin did a demo last year together. And then we were talking. We're like, dude, you could have got me on that demo. And then he had a few demos that he's trying to get me on. So it just made sense. We found that it would cut our gas cost in half, and we could do some demos together. I think it was just a no-brainer. Other than our cars don't match at all, two entirely different things, you know.
Yeah, but you've shown this year that it's a successful relationship, and maybe next year you guys can kind of vibe off each other and change that around.
No, it's insane. Our just imagine at this time we're kind of just maybe starting to think about next year. Me and Kyle have already been planning next year. I mean, you got two drivers, team owners, who are sitting next to each other constantly when we're driving across country. Unfortunately, not right now because he flew home.
Yeah, maybe holding hands, maybe not, depending on how you feel.
Yeah. But we're already in the mix of talking about getting a toter home for next year, doing just much bigger plans. We have other sponsors that we're speaking to. We actually have a much bigger idea of what we're going to do for next year. Yeah. So the seeds have already been set. You know,
we've been putting seed into each other.
Oh yeah, a little bit of seed, turtles.
Yeah,
seed things. But I think next year we're gonna do it pretty big.
Do you have a team name idea, or what do you call yourselves?
I think the last thing that we actually said was JMR.
JMR.
Yeah, Jones Mohan Racing. I think it's the only thing that made sense. We haven't really thought much into it.
What about Mohan Jones Racing?
That's a thing too.
Did you say Mohan Jones?
MJR? MJR? I don't know. Whatever one sounds better.
What about Jeff Han or
what about Team Jelly Hands?
Team Jelly Ham?
Jones Mahonis?
Kaijo Mohonis.
Mohan.
What about the Dockers?
Momans.
Yeah, what about the
The Dockers. That's a thing.
So what about the Mohones?
I already said that, Paco.
Will we get in trouble if they call us the Doctors?
No.
It is a family show.
No, but you could just you get sponsored by Dockers. Boom,
another sponsored by khaki. And you guys wear khaki pants. Khaki pants everywhere with pleats.
Khaki.
The Dockers.
That'd be cool to do a racing suit that had kind of like Matt Powers did the tuck suit. You do a khaki pants racing suit.
It's called a dad suit. It's khaki pants with the white polo top.
Have you noticed how many teams there are this year though? There is actually a good amount of semi-teams. You know, you got Chelsea and Vaughn.
Yep.
Chris and Ryan. Odie and Matt. They're not necessarily an exact team, but
they're frenemies.
There's actually quite a few teams this year.
Which just makes sense financially, and like you said, you can share knowledge and parts and whatever.
But the thing is, I don't see a lot of them capitalizing on the fact that they're a team. And I mean, obviously, Turk and Forsberg. I mean, they're always being teams. Pretty much, they're partners in life.
Well, never at FD though. That's the thing. They've been buddies. Up until these past.
So they finally pulled the trigger. They're teams. Obviously, Vaughn and Chelsea. I mean, Vaughn brought in Chelsea to the RTR team. Was pretty cool. But I think other than them, you guys, you and Kyle were the first teams to actually. Well, obviously, sorry, my bad, and also the frenemies because they have video series and all that stuff. But I saw you and Kyle actually coming up with videos. You're introducing Kyle to the team Doc, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was like a very interesting way of looking at oh, look at this, Team Doc is getting bigger, and you know, and one guy has a V8 with an Edelbrock supercharger that's going places. The other guy's got a turbo 3-rotor RX rotary. I mean, it's not like the same cars, It's and I for some reason I never thought you and Kyle would match until I saw your interactions on.
I felt the same way about Chelsea and Vaughn.
I don't know.
They're very different people in many regards. So.
I really didn't think that was going to work out personality wise. I didn't know if they were friends or not. But,
actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Could you see Matt Field and Vaughn? Because that was originally that's what we heard. We heard originally before Chelsea went in Vaughn's trailer that Matt was a prospect into that second car.
There's a couple candidates there, and I think they all would have worked to some degree because it's a business relationship first and then a friendship second. But it works out.
Yeah.
Let's make some teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list right now. I'm looking at some dream teams.
Yeah, I'm thinking Dirk Stratton should team up with
Kangushi.
Obviously. Yeah. So
Or
Wait,
no, actually, I take that
shouldn't
back.
Gucci be would die?
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
Gucci and Dow would be good. Are you saying that
That's
because they're
the
both
same
And
exact
that would
people.
and their team name would be
Yeah.
called Douchey.
douchey? Yeah, our team douchey. That's
Everything
good.
about them would be the same.
And then I just realized
Car, same
that
thing.
also Gucci and Hanadel will be good because Hanadel works out. Gucci's got the abs.
Yep.
I really like Hanadel Kaufman.
You like
team,
that?
Team Bop.
I was gonna say Matt Kaufman and Matt Van Kirk. You got Team
No, but
I
Northwest
think you could
Pacey.
make a boy
Pacey
band
Matt.
with Hollandale and a few drivers.
I could see that definitely.
Yeah. I don't know if Matt
Van Kirk and
can
Kaufman
sing,
would
though.
be Team Skinny Kid.
Team
Skinny
Lightweight.
Team Flyweight.
Team Flatweight. I like that. Team Flyaway.
But I think Matt Van Kirk in the Corvette.
Matt Van Kirk in a Corvette.
Sorry,
Dirk Stratton in a Corvette.
Switching that up real quick.
it's all the case in the name. Dirk Stratton in the Corvette
Yep.
should team up with.
I like that there's 3 Matts in FD. Matt Field, Matt Van Kirk, Matt Kaufman. Maybe that's just something. Maybe
The
like, hey, we all have
Matts.
the same first names. Don't care if we mesh. Let's just get together.
I used to have Matt Field,
Okay,
and Matt Powers,
hold
and
on.
S14.
Let me ask you guys this: Who's Kristoff's teammate?
Ooh.
Oh, it's like a death.
Yeah, he already has a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other.
Oh, you know what? Yes. So Dirk Stratton should team up with Dean Kearney. So we saw them battle Team America. No, actually, no, it wasn't Dirk. It was Matt Field
Matt
and
Field.
Dean Kearney.
Right.
But it's still like Team America.
Yeah.
You know, American muscle cars.
The Irish would love that.
Yeah. And then you can have Jonathan Castro. Well, I mean, Jonathan Castro is virtually teams with Osbo.
And they'd be
I see
called.
them in
and they would be
in
the
store every
castrators.
time.
The
Those guys are
Castrosbo.
always together, like going to the grocery store.
There you
That's
go.
because they got Papa cars. Once Papa Mama Kisses builds you
Yeah.
a car, you guys are pretty much docked.
Yeah, they're just like one of them's pushing one in the shopping cart.
Mm.
It's usually Osbo pushing Castro in the shopping cart, though, inside the Walmart.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot of times.
Macho Man Randy Sanchez says Kristoff's and Osbo, and they'd be Team Boosie.
Christoph and
Pussy.
Osbo. Oh, there-
I heard an exciting rumor at the bar after the event of 2 potential teammates. One being someone that has never been in Formula Drift before, but is a popular race car driver who I'm not going to name,
Yep.
and an existing member in Formula Drift. That's all I'm going to say.
That's
But,
a great
there
rumor,
might
mill,
be a-
Making
Sam.
stuff up.
There might be a new car in the series next year and a new team. That's exciting.
Yep.
is-
I know exactly what you're talking about, Sam.
can
and
I
that is
guess,
going
or
to
should
be
I
a-
not say even my
Did
best
you
Absolutely
not hear
not.
who it is?
No.
Okay,
You
I
should
know.
guess. Yeah, don't guess. And
Okay.
we'll talk
Okay.
about it later.
I think I got this.
It could actually be pretty big
yeah.
news, but
Yeah, it could be big news. What? Can we fucking talk about the event yet, or
No.
not?
What
No.
is it?
Well, I want to start by talking about Jeff's runs because he was the first battle of the day.
Jeff runs.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff's runs. Are you talking about like the steak that you had? What type of runs you had?
Yeah.
What type of runs are you talking about for Jeff?
I'm talking about his run against
Oh,
from the
his
Drift champion
top-
Michael Essa.
Top 32 runs.
Yep. So, first battle of the event because Peter qualified first. He did a bye run. Also notable, Forrest didn't qualify. Forrest was kind of in the running for potential like outlier championship, but due to complications, he did not qualify, which is pretty crazy. But Peter qualified first. Not that strange of a thing. He's done it already this year. And but then we had number 16 and number 17 qualifiers, Essa and Jones. And Jones, this is pretty good qualifying for you. You're happy to be in the middle of the field. I think it's the right place to qualify.
I was shooting really hard to go for top
All right,
16. I'm
here-
usually somewhere on the bottom.
Here goes the run.
I heard an anecdote also from, I forget who it was I was talking to. Maybe it was Chris, maybe I forget who, but they were saying how you did one run and you're like, you know what? I think the problem is that I'm trying to get 100. I'm going to shoot for 80.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Because on Thursday, I was killing it. My wife was
Yeah.
spotting for me. And, she was like, you're doing good. You're doing
Oh my
good.
God. You're
Saturday,
so
or,
far from
Friday.
Essa.
I tried to do
And then you
like,
did
that
it again.
90 plus run.
Yeah.
And I kept messing up. I just kept messing up. I couldn't get a good dialed in run.
Yeah.
So right before qualifying, I just, told everybody, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a solid 80 because anytime I do a 90, I pull out a 70. So,
Yeah.
shoot
So,
me what I
like-
can do.
And what was your score?
84.
84,
Twice.
which is pretty damn
That's
good.
pretty good.
I got a double 84.
Double 84. That's
Yeah.
solid.
We're
So
looking.
you ended up going against ex-champion Essa, and Essa had said he was only running on 5 cylinders, which, he was just trying to sound cool after you beat him, of course, because he didn't want to lose to formerly known as Junkyard.
But he
His
still
car
pulled.
was slow.
He still
Yeah.
pulled away from
Straightaway?
you on his lead run.
As soon as he got on boost,
It didn't look like it was
that
down
thing
to
was
power.
fat. No, not at all. It was a little slow leading up, but as soon
Yeah.
as it got on boost, that thing was rocket ship again. So he was, I think, at full power, like probably midway through the bank. Full power.
Yeah. So you guys went one more time. The first battle was definitely close. Like when we were watching, I couldn't really choose who had won.
I
thought
rewatched it and I thought Essa beat me.
really.
On the first battle.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well-
I rewatched it. I was like,
Well, one of the
So
judges
yeah.
agreed.
So I was
so-
probably exactly how the judges went.
Yeah.
I was like, I could see how he probably could have beat me.
Yeah.
Mistake to mistake when you go back and forth. But I could also see how the judges just wanted to see it one more go because there was a little bit of funniness on both sides.
Yeah.
And so, I think we got a better battle out of it, and that's what worked out.
And I was sitting next to Andy N for much of the round, and I told him to make a really fucked up call to get on our show because he still is mad that he's never been on our show before, and he still hasn't really made that fucked up of a call yet. But he did vote for Essa on the first battle, and then also in the end, the very end, we'll talk about that. He went for James, and I think he should have gone for Turk, so he blew that for sure. But. Andy, maybe, just maybe, we'll let you on the show without making a super fucked up call.
Maybe.
Look at that moment that Jeff Jones moves on to top 16.
Yeah.
Are we
That was-
watching it?
Yeah, we're
All I
watching.
see is Sam.
Yeah, you can't see it on the Skype chat, but it's on the stream. And there's Andy going one more time. Completely, Andy wasn't on your side because the first half
Not
of the
at all.
battle, he went for Essa. In the second battle, the one more time, he went for one more time. The other two,
Yeah.
maybe.
I didn't send him any doc. I should have sent some doc
You
or
should've
fruit
sent him-
basket or something.
Yeah, he sent him
Show-
a fruit basket.
Show him your fruit basket. and
You're
then
a-
get a
Send
letter.
him a photo of that.
You're a fruit basket, Sam.
Fruit basket.
So that was the first battle, and then we'll go back to the top 32 battles. But let's go to your top 16 battle against Peter, which was shocking, I think, to a lot of people, and me especially, because I kind of think you won that battle. I think, and
So
we're
that was
checking it out right
close.
here.
Let me
But-
watch it.
I did have a nice follow run with Peter prior to
Yeah.
going into that battle, earlier in the practice.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of information on him.
Mhm.
Not enough, but and he's one of those solid dudes, man. You can
Oh,
just follow
obviously.
him and
Yeah, I mean, they
place
don't
car
fuck
you
around.
need. So
The days of
nothing
fucking
to worry
around.
about.
I think the days of fucking around are over. Not just because Dago's gone, but I think most people aren't really screwing around in lead position trying to juke their opponents anymore.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm rewatching the battle now. Maybe I was wrong. Let's see. So your
He
follow was good at times, but you're definitely lagging behind coming off the bank.
So he's a rocket ship also coming
Yeah,
out.
those
so I'm
cars-
trying to catch up with him. My car
Yeah.
accelerates fast on the bank, not as fast in the straightaway. So that's something that I need to work on when I have some time.
Yeah, I've said it a ton of times on this show, is that those S15s move like nothing else. So now I'm
Yeah.
watching the second half of the battle, you leading. Peter really got lost on you on the bank. He fucked up, and then coming out into the infield there,
I don't think he was ready for it.
he wasn't ready
He
for the
was not
Jeff
ready
Jones
for
speed.
it.
He thought he was going to play fast. He was going to play slow and safe behind you, thinking that he had a pretty good follow run on you, or excuse me, he had a pretty good lead run, and he thought that he could sit back, but then you kind of rocket shipped there.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of
So-
wish the judges would score that run because man,
Yeah.
that's better than I can drive.
But it was it was
I
definitely
was
a one
pulling
more
some
time.
stuff out right there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with the judges that was a one more time. And then here's on your second run, you are following and you tap the wall, and obviously,
yeah. So
obviously
I make the
that
mistake. If you
disturbed
can
your
watch the
line.
side view.
Yeah.
I got to my run up I was too far ahead of him. I should have went side by side and tucked right in behind him, but I tried to run up right next to him, and he was maybe a little bit slower than I predicted, and that really messed me up because I had to lift off and then get back on, initiated into the bank, and that's what floated me and hit the wall.
Yeah.
Pretty much from there it was tough to follow.
Once you have that deficit in the beginning, you're kind of screwed. So you
Yeah.
just went a little too deep, and then it's kind of over at that point unless he makes a huge mistake on his run.
Mhm.
But you still you got up one more time with arguably one of the best, not arguably one of the best, arguably the best. I don't know.
He was the
In my
number one
opinion.
qualifier this
And
round.
James said
Yeah,
this too.
that guy's killing it.
James Dean says this too, is that he is amazed whenever he battles Peter, because Peter can bring out. I think Peter's a little more chaotic than James. They both have very similar driving styles, whereas James is a little more robotic. I think Peter is chaotic and in a beautiful way. And I think right now he's like one of my. I don't want to.
So if you watch that the second battle when he's following me, he must have hit me like 5 times.
Yeah.
I was on the bank, and he just keeps hitting me and hitting me. I'm like, dude, stop hitting me, stop hitting me. And it's pretty funny, you know, the way that guy can tuck it in, hit you enough to where, you know, it's still driftable. There was definitely no reason for me to like Formula Derp said, flop it or whatever. You know, it was a nice solid hit. It was something I wish I could do. So you know, I've got a nice mark on the side of my door now that I got to clean up. But he still owes me some drinks now. I told him he owes me 5 drinks for every time he hit me.
Drinks? Well, did he mark up those Forsberg doors or what?
Yeah, he did. I'm gonna need some new Doc logos now.
And there's no gentleman's agreement about like replacing doors when you hit them. It's just kind of is the cost of war, right?
Yeah, it's the cost of war. But Chelsea last year, he was lighting my doors up over there in Orlando when he first got into that Mustang.
Yeah.
And I talked to him afterwards because it was like Thursday. It was like 2-3 laps in. I'm like, hey man, why are you riding my doors on Thursday, bro? He's like, dude, I don't even know where the front of this nose of this car is yet. He's like, I didn't know I was hitting you.
He was doing the best he can. It's a long nose car.
It's like, it's Thursday. Don't wipe my doors out on Thursday. Whatever. Yeah, it's all good.
Before we move on to the rest of Top 32, we did get a YouTube super chat, but it is something that we haven't addressed in the show before intentionally. And I'll just read the comment because you did give us some donation money, and we appreciate that. It helps keep the show alive and pay for Paco's internet bill. But Joe makes Drift says, get that asshat lump on here and take him to task for swindling the drifting community. Oof. And we very intentionally not brought this up in the past, Joe, and that's for good reason, is because there's still a massive amount of speculation and misinformation about the entire situation. And believe me, especially because Fred was on the show, I think a few months before, or a few weeks even before the big incident occurred, we are as curious as anybody, and we would love a full explanation. But we don't want to be wrong.
We're not gonna make up shit. We're not gonna be fake news.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be addressing stuff if we don't have, especially stuff this delicate. We're not gonna just
We don't have all the information, and granted, maybe he could come on the show and tell us all that information if he wants to do that. But at the same time, maybe he has incentive to not tell us the true story as well. So we appreciate the donation, and we will return it after the show if you don't feel like this question was sufficiently answered and all that. But as far as our official answer is, it's still too out there, and there's still not enough hard information, and we don't want to ever spread controversy or bullshit. So that's that. Let's move on. All right.
Yeah, so I asked around. I couldn't get a story on it.
Yeah,
I heard a bunch of different random things. So
exactly.
I don't think you ever get the right story.
Of course,
all over again.
We always like to know. We always like to know as much as we can in the sport that we also cherish and love, and we're all confused and whatever. I'm sure we have our own private opinions on the matter, but our public statement is we don't know, and we're not going to comment until we do.
Opinions are like assholes.
Yeah.
We all have one and they all stink. So
there you go.
Why does your asshole stink?
Some more than others.
Hold on, I clean mine daily, Paco. Sometimes twice a day.
Tell us, are you a butt wipe man?
You got the dude wipes.
It's the new millennium, all right?
It is.
We don't have to use dead dry trees to wipe anymore, all right? We got so many products that are out there that can just really help men like me who have hair pants, all right? And you know what? That's all I'm going to say on that topic too. We don't need to talk about that topic anymore.
Well, I want to know what's Jeff's technique.
Jeff, yeah. Do you go front to back to front using wet wipes, dry wipes? What are we talking
Or
here?
tree bark?
I'm what am I? 3 back, 1 forward, then a baby wipe to finish off.
Up, down, left, right.
Yeah, man. Contra code, 30 lives.
Hell yeah. Contra code on the front.
Contra code gives you 30 wipes.
That's
I think JD is finally kicking in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How is the JD over there?
Dude,
how many shots are you in?
I'm done, man. No, I have to work tomorrow, dude.
No. I sent you enough docs.
Oh, dude, like seriously, I mean, I posted a photo on our stories. Like, we got our mini bar is fully docked.
Hey, Paco, isn't your mom there too? Is she there to watch
Yeah.
this mess?
Oh,
Ask her if she wants one.
Oh, she's probably gonna dock with Paco later.
My mom is watching telenovelas right now in my room.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's visiting for a couple weeks. So if you
Paco,
see me,
if you get a Fireball, it's a Jones bomb.
I have Fireball downstairs, dude. Don't tempt me.
Yeah, that's a Jones bomb. I got
there
the
needs to
owner of the company liking that stuff.
James, does it James? No, sorry, the Jones bomb. I want to drink the Dr. Jones.
I think that may be too affiliated with a company that doesn't work for us.
What?
The other company, the other soda brand,
Doc Jones.
Doc Jones.
Doc Jones. I'm down with Doc Jones.
Doc Jones.
It's like, yeah, all right. We'll come up
Doctor. Doctor.
Yeah, next time.
Well, we actually, Paco, I was already thinking about it. We, one of our good friends, you may have heard of him, Chris Mady from AM Intakes, asked us to give away an intake on this show, and I think that might be how we do it. We'll think about it.
How do I sign up? Can I sign up?
For the intake giveaway?
I do. Chris, pick me up, man.
So I was thinking that we maybe do like a competition, something like either Mohan and Jones team name. Whoever comes up with the best team name to be judged by us and Jeff, or whoever comes up with just the best Jeff's new nickname because he doesn't want to be Junkyard. So maybe that's the comp. But you guys think about it over the next rest of the show, and we'll come up with it by the end of it. But you guys start thinking. Don't give away your best answers yet because someone might use it if that's what we want to do. But we'll discuss it.
We're gonna say Doc Jones.
DJ, DJ Diddles,
the
DJ,
scalpel.
I had to come up with
the Jonestown Massacre.
Whoa.
All right, let's talk about some battles before we go too long here and take up the whole night. Going back to top 32, Denofa and Taguchi. I don't think that one is really that notable. Maybe I'm wrong. Halberd and Stratton. Stratton was the saddest I've ever seen him after the event. When we try to hang out and talk with as many drivers as possible after the event, he was bummed. He had electrical issues.
Yeah,
and
he was so bummed. He was drinking rum, Jack and Coke from a coffee mug.
Was he?
I should have gave him some Doc. I fucked up.
There you go, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
where you at, Stratton? Hit me up.
And this is something that was actually a big player in this event was electrical issues because I guess electrical is a loose general big pictures thing, but
hey, not to plug myself, but I do not have any electrical issues.
Yeah, man,
you're wiring specialties.
Feel free to plug yourself all you want.
So you can plug Cory if you want to.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of holes.
Cory's got holes.
Before we move on, Chris Made from AEM is saying sub Jeff. So there you go. You got it.
There we go. We have a connection.
Yes.
So electrical issues. Dean Carney at his source had some sort of electrical stuff. And then Forsberg, we'll get to the very end, but Forsberg is more or less kind of knocked out of the championship running for better or worse. For worse, obviously, for him. But, I mean, as far as unless some crazy things happen, Chris is pretty much out of the championship running due to a minor electrical problem that's cursed him since New Jersey. But we'll get to that. So Hellbrand moved on there. Dean and Mohan. So I know this goes against what we're talking about, Jeff, because we said that it's awesome they got in a new car. But hear me out. I feel like Miatas suck at drifting. Brian, I want to hear you chime in a second here because Brian is the biggest Miata advocate I know. But I feel like Miatas kind of suck at drifting, and I feel like if he would just take that FD RX-7 and make that FD spec, he would rip. What do you think, Jeff?
I prefer his RX-8. The FD is super cool, but I like his RX-8 because I've driven him. They're pretty badass. I agree. He was struggling a lot in the Miata. I think because the Miata is such a short car.
That's the problem.
Super long track is probably going to be the worst. Whereas you think that Jersey's probably would be really good for him, though, right?
Yeah. We've seen him hanging out, though. We know he's a good driver. It's just, it seems like he's always struggling to keep a clean...
he chose that because he was sponsored by Mazda and he needed to run something newer.
Right.
That's just one of those things where, like, we all love FDs. They're amazing-looking cars. They're great, but Mazda doesn't care anything about them. It's like trying to drift a Corolla right now. No, Toyota's not going to care. So he had to get in something that's relevant.
Does Mazda still support him?
They do. Yeah, they still support him. But I think, if he gets out of that chassis,
Yes.
he's going to be more on his own. So
I mean, I understand that he needs that
Mazda
chassis,
needs to step up their game and
bring
out a
back
newer car.
Yeah, exactly. We'll bring back a real drive, newer car or something that is driftable. And I don't get me wrong, I think his car is one of my favorite looking out there, and it's definitely one of my favorite sounding. That car sounds
That thing is
amazing.
mean.
Do you know?
But it's mean as hell. It just everyone from Mad Mike to Mohan, like it just seems like they all have trouble drifting Miatas.
Let me say something here real quick.
Oh, Brian's ready. Brian's ready.
About the Miata thing. Miatas are great for learning on. Definitely not great after a certain point. When you go into competition,
They have a shorter ceiling, you would say?
Like you can get really good with the Miata, then jump into something else.
So they're going to be twitchy.
Yeah, but if you get really good with the Miata, then go into a more suitable chassis for drifting, I think that transition will be much easier for you. At least this is what I was told. But
there's more things to that. There's like a suspension design that makes people better drivers coming from a different car.
True.
Like, I don't know the exact Miata specs, but if you look at a Corolla, the old Japanese style was Corolla will make you the best driver. And the reason was it's a crappy car.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's a good car to make you a good driver. It's because it was a crappy car and it only had like 4 degrees of caster. So the self-steer return on it was really slow. So you had to physically input the driving, the steering of it for yourself. And once you were able to do that and be able to use momentum while driving, and by the way, that's what's the worst part about all new drivers right now is everyone's copying Formula D drivers, making a V8 car. Please stop it. Drive a 4-cylinder for a little bit longer before you switch. Just please stop.
But as a suggestion, though, for Kyle Mohan's next chassis, I think that a rear-wheel drive Mazda Speed 3 could be possible.
Definitely.
The new Mazda Speed 3s look pretty sick.
Osbo and Papadakis have shown that you can rear-wheel drive anything and make it a competitor. So with enough engineering, that's possible for anyone. So if you want
they're
to
on an interesting side. They are adapting the same stuff every time they switch cars.
Right.
So every time, Osmo goes into a new chassis, it looks like a new chassis to everybody, but it's almost the same suspension design every time he jumps into a new one. So he's got a little bit of that going on. So it's not exactly reinventing the wheel every time.
It's true. I mean, for people in the know, and I would consider in the know as far as the mechanical underpinnings of these cars. But for people, as you just mentioned, in the know, they know it's not like they're starting from zero every time. They're more or less trying to mock up the same parts they know and trust, just in a slightly different frame, so to say. It still is admirable to see a front-wheel drive car taking a rear-wheel drive in a very short amount of time, and he's still the only one that's really doing it right now, to the best of my knowledge.
Can I tell you guys something I never told anybody before?
No.
Cory, I knew it. Thank you so much.
He's coming out.
No, not yet. I wanted to tell you guys I always wanted a Mazda Miata, and I wanted to call it the Maserati.
So Mazda Miata with a Maserati
But you
motor.
have a little experience with drifting a Miata.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
When we had that RX-7, that FD RX-7 in my house, we used to call it the Maserati.
The what? The Maserati?
Yeah. It was an RX-7, an FD RX-7.
That was Alex's.
Yeah.
Was it you didn't name it the Maserati?
We call it the Maserati. I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? My bad. Hold on. Back in the day, it was an MX-3 back home.
Start the show over.
We called it the Maserati.
No, so that's a Mexican thing.
It's a Mexican thing.
God
sorry,
damn it.
Cory.
Hey, I'm half Mexican.
Yeah.
Are you? Wait. Are
the
you
last
half?
name
Which
is-
half?
Hey.
Depends.
Jeff mentioned a second
way are
ago
we
too. He said stop putting V8s and things. Put 4-cylinders in it. And Cory brought up a good point at the event is that we had an all Jay-Z podium. So anyone that thinks that LSs are just all that dominates drifting is we had a three Jay-Z podium here, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, Jay-Z's are definitely taking over. I remember when I had a Jay-Z in 2009, and everybody was like, "Why would you put such a heavy engine in your car?" And because I was like one of the first guys to have a Jay-Z in an S13, I think it was like Mike Kojima or somebody, and they're like, "That's got to be way too heavy to be in this chassis." And my answer was, "Dude, an SR20 is way more expensive to hook up than a Jay-Z.
Definitely.
So it's way cheaper and easier, reliable, something I could run." So yeah, they work. Jay-Z's are pretty good, but that's not where I was going with. Not a V8, just too much power. Drive for a few years under 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
Learn how to use momentum.
And as far as for fun events too, I think that 300 is kind of the sweet spot. And granted, I've been out of the game for a few years now, but I have a drift car just waiting for me once I can get to her.
Hey Jeff,
But
why
yeah,
don't
it
you
seems like- it
work
seems
on
like-
Sam's drift car for him?
Yeah. Hey man, I already mentioned a few shows ago
Send it over.
that she's going to be worked on this fall or winter, and we're going to reboot to some degree. So I'm excited for that. And before we move on to the rest of Top 32, we had one more super chat from Joe Makes Drifts. Thanks, buddy. He says, thanks for addressing my previous super chat. Thanks for the show. Peace of good tidings. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for being a cool guy and helping to support this podcast. So let's talk about Gucci and Burkett. Dan is one of my favorite drivers. I've mentioned on the show before. I think he's got my favorite car. I love the Supra and the style that he's done with
Yeah,
it.
he's super cool guy.
Super cool guy.
It was super
Did you
rad.
say super cool?
Super cool.
Super
Yeah,
cool
'cause-
guy.
Yeah. And in Long
Guys
Beach,
are
he went
ridiculous.
super deep.
Yeah, and he went super deep here against Gucci coming off the bank and punted him. We haven't seen a punt this good in a while. And we're going to talk about it for a minute if we can try to find it, Brian. Otherwise, I'll look in the background too. But he came in a little hot. Came in a little hot and bothered. I feel like Dan was just kind of offline. He wasn't on the right line. He was
I
drifting
think he
well.
missed the touch and go, right?
He punted him coming off the bank.
Yeah.
And he well, are we considering the touch and go the wall? That's the outer wall there coming off the bank.
No. After outer zone 1, going into the infield, there's a
That's
touch and go
touch-
area that you need to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you there?
Yeah, no, but I always get this. So full disclosure, I always get confused by the term touch and go as far as where it relates to the point on the track. And
Is
that's
that a soft spot? Touch and go? You're not hip to that.
Yeah. Well, so what's the actual point? Is it the inside coming off the bank? That's considered the touch and go.
No. It could be an outer zone, realistically, but judges it's just a way to make us go wide.
Yeah.
Because
So
if
touch and
there
go.
wasn't a touch and go, we could all go really narrow.
Right.
So they set
Well,
up a
touch
touch
and-
and go on the outside so that we just get out there.
Yeah. So that's just the end of the bank.
No, it's not at the end of the bank. It's like 30 feet after the end of the bank, maybe even farther.
So it's an invisible point, or was there an actual clip?
No,
there?
there's like this square rectangular line with hash marks going down it.
Right. Which
so
I
it's
saw.
literally 50 feet maybe down
Yeah.
from the bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're supposed to go all the way wide there and then switch over to the outer zone too.
Which is a discussion that I guess is now as good a time as any to get to, because we had a controversial, at least to the fans watching until Lontaine explained it, we had some controversial calls there because people were going off the track in that area, and it looked fine. It looked like cool, fast drifting for most people, but the thing is that if there was a wall there, those cars
Yeah.
would have been wrapped up and destroyed. And I think that
there
maybe,
should be a wall.
that's what I was just going to say. Like, there should be a wall there. Drifting has gotten so good and so technical. I know that you guys aren't going to kill yourselves, hopefully.
No, the problem
there's-
is visually, we can't see it.
Yeah.
I think if there was a wall that ran down the whole way, I think we'd be fine. It's
Right.
at least for me and a few other drivers, the tire marks get on there and you just don't see it anymore.
Exactly.
You
And
know,
maybe
you're
it's
going
not
through
a
there very fast.
maybe it's not a K rail. Maybe it's like a softer plastic inflatable, God knows what. But it's something to show that you are so off track that it's a zero, because we saw this. I guess we can just kind of skip ahead there, and if you find that Burkett clip, awesome. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Is that
Yeah, I'll take a. I was going to show real quick the touch and go.
yeah.
Brian is opening it right now. There you go.
Cool.
So you can just show that real quick. So there you go. You see coming off the bank, there's just like a little quick touch and go, and that's after you do that touch and go, you go into transition into the wall. Pretty much.
Right.
And that's where some people were saying like, maybe we should put a wall there, because a lot of drivers went 2 or 3 tires
Which
off
we
the
saw.
track.
That was in top 16, Denofa and Helbrun, and when they announced it for Helbrun, because Chelsea was driving like a madman, he had a killer chase, I believe, and then but he went 3 wheels off in that area, maybe almost 4, and everyone, when they announced that Helbrun got the win, everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? Like there was an audible boo for about 10 seconds from the crowd, and then Lontaine went on the mic and said, look, if there was a wall there, that car would be gone. And we have to pretend that there's a wall there because, he was so far off the track. And it's an easy spot to do. It's not due to lack of skill, because that's just a very easy thing to do coming off that ultra high speed bank. And you have to dial in so much speed a reduction of speed, I should say, coming off of there.
There was a
Which
protest
I'm really
from there
happy
too.
that Lontaine describes their decisions.
Right.
Because
It's been
you know,
essential.
3 years ago, the audience just hated all of us, right? It's like,
Right.
why did he choose that? Why did you choose that? This driver did that. Now Lontaine's up there. He's describing what's happening. And I think a lot more people get it now. And we really needed that. So
Yeah.
happy they're doing that. We need more of that.
All right, going back to top 32 one more time. Field and Carney, awesome. We mentioned it on the halftime show because it was the supercars. This is something that's so cool for FD, is because we have 2 American supercars, and that's something that like is so weird to imagine. I think right now is when we had Paco talk about on the show because he's the American car fan, and yeah, we had a fully prepped crazy ass race Corvette against a fully prepped crazy ass race Viper, and
We just
they're
melted
at it in Formula Drift. That's the
rod
beauty.
bearings.
It's like it's so America that
America's
just
coming in.
oozing red, white, and blue there. And Carney still unfortunately chasing crazy ass problems.
I have his
The rod
his
bearings.
rod bearings here. I was
You're
gonna
able to
grab
bring them
them.
back. TSA didn't confiscate those.
Nope, I have them downstairs. I was going to bring them
Nice.
up here and put them on display.
Yeah, so
I'll grab
we've
them in a
got
minute.
the sheared off, shaved, destroyed rod bearings from his 5th Viper motor
Yeah,
this
he's having a
season.
horrible year.
He didn't want to go on the record saying what they think they solved it. They think they finally found the final problem, but
I
hopefully,
think they said that the last time.
yeah, but hopefully they have
I
it
don't
this
know.
time. And
Hey, Carney, if you need to take your engine somewhere, bro, the guys built my motor right here. CPR, got the performance racing engines.
you are killing the
Dude,
sponsorship game, Jeff.
They will hook you up.
Corey.
I haven't had a problem.
Corey, do you hear this
Just
guy?
saying.
Yeah,
Saying.
he's a natural shot caller.
He is dialed. He is
I have
dialed
to make up for
sponsor.
my stupid interviews.
Dude, your stupid
Well, I-
interviews are more
I'm able to
memorable than
collect
your good
myself
ones.
Right now.
Yeah, you're killer right now, man. You're a machine.
Collecting myself.
And hey, man, we'll allow it. Like we'll draw the line somewhere if you go too hard. But for right now, man, we're down. We're
It's-
down. You
All right.
You're just
you
leaking
get
them
those
in.
sponsors at the time. I love it. Especially because we love sponsors. Love let's just say it. Nexen tires, best tires in the world, right, Jeff?
No, what?
All right, moving on. We have Blush versus Byron. Blush qualified second. I picked Blush as winner for the event when we did our Nexen tire, our Motegi Racing predictions for the rest of the round. And I chose Blush. And actually, Paco and I, this is unprecedented, and we haven't done this before. So if you've never watched our halftime show, after top 32, we do our halftime show, and we fill out the rest of our bracket based off of what we've been seeing for the weekend, what we think, all of our hopes and dreams and fears and desires. We choose the rest of our bracket. Paco and I literally chose the exact same bracket. Cory went very different, and Cory was much closer. Paco and I were pretty much burned out after top 16.
I was only one person off.
Yeah.
I
Cory
told you it was a
barely
Worth-House podium, and it was a Worth-House podium. I was off because I picked
JTP.
Blues, and Blues got knocked out.
Yeah, by Turk. Turk was on one.
So
but
I was close.
Blush was killing it, and I thought that he was going to
Hey, Jeff,
qualified second.
Are you churning butter inside your truck right now or something?
It's starting to get windy. Remember that cloud
Yeah.
you saw earlier?
Yeah, it's
Storm?
over you now.
Yeah, possibly. There's a
Can you
little
roll
bit
your
of rain.
window up? Thank you.
Yeah, windows up.
All right,
Alright,
sweet.
cool.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have what we
Churning
chose.
butter.
What we chose as our this is our next entire moment of top 32 was the 2-1 more times battle of Moore and Castro. And we also mentioned on the show, it's interesting because the FRSs seem to move very similar. Like when we see Gucci and Turk, and in this case Cameron Moore and Jonathan Castro against each other, they usually move very similar. But these ones were similar in movement, but they also move very differently because Castro has that Papadakis built. What's the motor code again, Cory? 2AR.
Yeah, 2AR.
He's got that, I think, originally in a Camry motor, and then Cameron Moore is a more conventional choice, the 2JZ. And these guys went at it, and it was a lot of fun to see these cars go at each other. And Cameron Moore hasn't done a lot of rounds.
Yeah, he only did Long Beach, and then he had a huge crash in Long Beach, which I had a chance to catch up with his dad because his dad is his spotter. And he was saying Cameron hit every corner of the car and literally broke everything, and even broke the input shaft off the transmission just from the amount of force that he hit the wall at. And so he's like, dude,
And Long Beach has ended a couple careers that way. It did it to D-Mac that 1 year in the Saturn Sky. Long Beach can do that to a guy, unfortunately.
Long Beach is fun.
Yeah, fun.
Ping pong.
That was where we last saw June Mang drift.
Yep, June made Rick. June.
Oh,
June
he had a
Hanks.
bad one. Spinning
Yeah.
like a T-top.
It's
but,
called a Junado. Get it right, guys.
NATO.
That was a very cool battle.
Well, yeah. One of the crazy thing about that battle. So, we have Castro coming out from an entire season of issues and problems with the car. Looks like he finally has a perfect car. He's hungry. He's like, I'm not just gonna drive. I'm gonna destroy. And he was driving amazingly. And then Cameron Moore, who hasn't driven for like the past 3 rounds.
Yep.
He comes in and is like just giving Castro a run for his money. So it was a great battle because I was talking to Castro a little bit after he was done. He seemed a little bit bummed, and I told him like, dude, it was a great battle. I mean, it wasn't left. It wasn't just like left to like, both guys did an amazing job. It looked insane, and I don't think you should be bummed about it because you literally looked as good as when you battled James Dean. And funny thing, I mean, I ended up being Cameron Moore's umbrella girl.
Oh yeah, you ran up there at halftime, and even though it was a NOS umbrella, because that's the only one you can grab.
Yeah,
you ran because Cameron Moore didn't have. He was the only guy without an umbrella girl. Even Kristaps had an umbrella girl. And
Yeah.
Paco, being the nice boy that he is, he went over there and held the umbrella for Cameron.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just like he was the only person on top 16 that was like sitting there by himself.
Yeah,
it's like we're not gonna let this run.
We're gonna knock it out. You earned a top 16. You earned an umbrella, baby. We're coming.
And he earned it in like a insane fashion. It wasn't just like, oh, somebody's car broke. Oh, I just got locked. Like, no, it was tough battling.
Well, they fought Castro like crazy, and Castro was definitely bummed afterwards because he, of course, fought very hard for that.
Yeah.
They both made very similar mistakes at that inner clip. It seems like a lot of drivers were having trouble with that inner clip, but they both made similar errors. And then the final run was judged strictly off of their leads, I believe, because their chases were both considered zeros. And that's kind of a weird way to judge a battle, but I get why it exists. And I guess for whatever reason, Moore was seen as just a little bit better than Castro, but I know Castro didn't necessarily agree with. I think that call he may have agreed with, but I think that he kind of thought he won the first battle. They're kind of fuzzy in my head right now, so I can't say their side either side. But I feel like the judging in this round was pretty spot on.
Yeah, we're definitely having Castro pretty soon. We haven't had him in a while, so we'll clear all that up.
Can't take Andy Luck on here, man. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, we're gonna get Luck on
God,
here.
we got to.
The
Andy. Maybe we'll
Andy
do an
Luck-
Andy show.
Andy Luck bought my food Saturday night. Me and Kyle were at the Red Robin, and Andy Luck and the rest of the Formula D staff are across from us. And we're done with our food, and Andy gets up. He's like, hey, man, food's on me. You can't get me any more drinks, though.
What?
I already paid for it. And we're like, oh, cool, man. Yeah. Totally didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And then he goes to walk out with the doors locked, and then he goes the other way. He's like, yeah, so I got your food. You're all good. Still, me and Kyle are looking at him like, no way he likes us that much.
Yeah.
He's like, you deserve it. I don't know.
He's a hard read, man. He's a hard read.
I'll tell you
He's
something.
such a cool guy. He hated me when I first started. But he's so cool.
He hates everybody when they first start. He goes, that's how you weed them out. Because you remember back in Long Beach, for me, when I was in Long Beach in 2012, he was and he was just an asshole to me. I remember the specific moment because so the big dogs would park on like the larger side of the pit area in Long Beach. Like you would get on the other side of the bridge. But if you're a new guy and a rookie, you would go on the opposite side of the bridge, but kind of behind the grandstands. And so, I remember, crossing the track one time, going to a driver's meeting. He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm going to a driver's meeting. And he's like, oh, how long do you think you're going to last? You going to make it past Long Beach, or are you giving up after this round? I was like, okay. All right, Andy. But I remember, I remember that's his attitude. It was like, yeah, you won't make it past this round, so if you do, good luck. But, what he was doing, he's like, half the times you see these guys at Long Beach, you may only see them for one round, you never see them again, so why does it matter? He's like, I respect the people that make it through the year, or make it, you've earned it. Because a lot of people come in who do that one round, and they mess everything up for everybody. Like, once again, Jeff used a prime example. It's like when you have 60 drivers or 80 drivers battling for 4 tire sponsors, it affects everybody. It really does. Yeah. So when these one guys come in and they start buying up all these tires and hogging the tires, and it's taken away from somebody that's like Jeff going to be running all year, it hurts somebody that's making that full commitment. So that's why, I get it now, but back then I was like, God damn, this guy's just an evil panda.
Let's power through some of these battles. I'm sure they deserve more justice than I can give them right now, but I want to talk to Jeff a little bit further after we talk about FD. So Dai and K-Law was looking sharp as hell, but then he spun, I believe, after in the power alley there, which sucked for him, but he was looking good up until that point. Taylor Hall and Justin Pollock. Taylor Hall did better than I thought he would. He looked the best he's ever looked in that Cadillac. Paco, you are a huge fan of that car.
Yeah.
Do you remember the battle? What do you think?
It looks solid. I mean, obviously there was an obvious advantage on Justin's driving, but the Cadillac looked very well composed. Looked like it had consistent power, consistent angle. It actually, for such a big car, it looks just as big as a Mustang or as big as a like some of the bigger cars. And I had a chance to talk to. Oh my God, I'm I say blacking out, not blacking out.
Brain fart.
Too much JD, man.
Yeah, that's
too many doc bombs.
It's a doc. Help me, Sam.
Say it again.
I was after the round. I was talking to Cadillac driver
Taylor.
Taylor.
Oh my goodness, Pac.
Yeah, I'm
good boy, Atlanta.
yeah.
Taylor and wife Tamara, very big fans of the show, and you, Paco. How fucking dare you?
No.
Right?
I know perfectly. I just had a brain fart. And he was saying that he's loving the car. Like even like when he loves, he said the car just feels great. It's nimble for such a big car. So I think he's gonna start doing a lot better. He's getting a lot of off track seat time driving. So you can tell he's getting a lot better. But obviously, Justin Timberlake is on fire.
Yep. Then we have Honodale and getting qualified very low for some reason. I think he was having electrical issues as well.
I know. I beat
qualifying.
him.
But
I was so happy that I got out-qualified.
Yeah, right. That's pretty crazy when you can out-qualify Vaughn. But Honodale was driving well, but it looked like he kind of got juked by Gitten's lead, if I remember correctly. And then I forgot to mention Osbo and Federico on this side. Not a notable battle in itself, but Federico was driving, again, the best I've seen him all weekend. People have accused us of having a hard-on for him on the show, and we do, because he's such a nice guy, and he's new to the sport, and he needs all the support he can get because he
should
is
be
really...
Christoph's teammate.
Yeah,
there you go.
Right there.
Because he's really fucking trying, and I love his spirit. Like, if there's a Spirit of Drifting award at the end of the year, I really hope he gets it because he's really fucking trying. And he's in such a difficult car, and I know he's doing some testing, actually. I saw him today. He came to race service. He's going to be hanging out down here, and he's going to hope to do some testing at Willow to try to do some things to speed that car up or make it more better and try some things. Because right now it just looks like, I know he's got the power, right? It just looks like it's struggling to...
Put it down.
It's struggling to put it down, so I don't know if it's the huge wheels.
I think he's breaking axles a lot. I know I see him pull out in front of me.
That is definitely one of the problems. Those axles are expensive and rare, and he is breaking them. I think that if he puts... Right now he's got 21-inch wheels on there because that's what the car comes with. It comes with 21-inch wheels. I feel like, with my limited knowledge of these things, I feel like throwing on like 18s or 19s like everyone else has will be better for the car. Because I feel like Daigo struggled when he had huge wheels.
He also not only the wheel size, but the overall tire size. The tire is super tall.
He's running what, a 305?
295.
I think
305. So he's on a super wide tire. So obviously because of the weight, but it's also a very very tall tire. And
and the other reason too is I think that's one of the only sizes Zinno makes for a 20.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, it's still like a there's not that you can't go really that smaller in such a big tire. But your tire size is your final gear ratio. Mm-hmm. So the taller your tire is, literally you're taking away torque. It's like literally tire against the floor is your final gear ratio. So You definitely. I mean, Brian, we just had this talk recently. You went from the Lexus from the 20s to the Motegis, an 18 with a smaller tire.
Yeah.
And how the car feels.
It was night and day difference. It was incredibly more responsive. It was just the car just felt alive. With
Like the car was
wheels.
lighter.
Oh, way lighter. I can lift those wheels up.
Yeah,
very
just lit them
easily.
up by.
Yeah.
You even thought the car was like you were like smoking the clutch.
Yeah,
It was just the tires, just like
the response was just
Yeah.
something I wasn't used to. So
So a bigger tire, heavier, more rotational mass. Pulling the e-brake takes a lot more work to slow them down. Then lighting them up takes a lot more. I can see why it would snap axles like crazy. So
I think that's one of the things he mentioned to me today too, and I spoke to him for a brief moment, was that he's going to try out some different sizes there to play with. And also Chris Nelson on YouTube says nope 20-inch Sam. I think he's mentioning either FedEx
he was in
wheels or
20s.
Daigos or whoever. But yeah, I feel like with my basic knowledge, I feel like smaller is better, and you guys seem to support that. But he'll try that and some other stuff because I know that car can be good if it just has more development, and that's just kind of what anyone that's trying out a new the car needs, and that's what Taylor Hull's going through, no doubt. And I see the potential there for these things from a spectator's perspective, and hopefully they can get that together. All right, moving on at the end of top 32 here. Odie and Matt Van Jerk. Quit grabbing that mic, Matt. We had on the show last week. Really awesome dude. Matt drove really well, I think, but Odie is such a good competitor and hard to drive against. And Matt and Odie have gone together before, and they've gone one more time before. I think Odie just edged Matt out a little bit. And then Forsberg and Kaufman. Forsberg's car shut down on initiation because Forsberg had, I think, like the one remaining stock part in his motor is the throttle bodies, these electronic throttle bodies. And they failed in New Jersey, and I think they cost him the round potentially. And they did days of testing at E-Town, I believe, to try to remedy this issue, and they thought they got it. And the car was fine. This is all straight from Forsberg, interpreted through me. Hopefully I don't fuck any of this up. The car was fine through practice. The car was fine through qualifying. And again, Saturday morning practice. And then literally the first corner of his only run that mattered for the day, it shut down. And then it did it again the second half of the battle after they took their 5 to try to figure it out. And that obviously fucking sucks. It's a stock Nissan part, and maybe there's a grounding issue. Maybe there's something else they don't even know right now. I think they're working their asses off to remedy that, but that does kind of suck because he was in a very close third place up until this round, and that is no longer. Osbo was also in a very close second place. He got knocked out in 16 by Fields, and now Dean has more or less secured the championship after round 5, unless Dean does very poorly. And what's the rest right now? We have Peter is in third, 120 points behind. That's like a fucking round. So Dean is in a very comfortable lead right now, and he deserves it. He drives like a maniac. But of course, we'd love to see some new blood on the top. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Forsberg. It sucks. He was incredibly crushed because even though he's hogged 3 championships already, that dude cares about winning as much or as anyone out there. Then we did the best halftime show on earth. Then top 16 happened. Vaughn during his announcement announced that he's having a little baby Vaughn boy. We don't know if it's Vaughn Gittin Jr. or what his name will be yet, but he's having a boy. Him and Abby Gittin. Congrats, guys. That's very exciting for them. Yeah. Top 16. Boom. Peter versus Jones. We touched it already. Jeff Jones won the first battle in my alternative fiction universe. Good job, Jeff.
I'm with that.
All right, cool. Danofa and Helbrin, we talked about that already. Dean and Gucci. I don't remember that one, guys. What happened?
Dean and Gucci. It was a very, I wouldn't say very close. It was just like a very nice battle. But it was just obvious that James Dean was
won.
just, perfectly consistent.
At this point, I believe I started shooting photos just for fun of FD because I haven't done that ever, actually. I was in between shooting video of Turk to cover him for our race service show, Blackout Garage, but also I wanted to shoot some photos. So you can't pay attention. That's the worst part about doing photo or video is you don't get to watch the battles, actually. But, yes, I don't remember that one. But I do remember Osbo and Field because Field beat Osbo. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, That was definitely that was one of the things about this round. A lot of big drivers went out on top 32 and top 16.
Yeah. And Field won it and earned it, and it was a questionable call to the point where there's a funny photo of Steph Papa Doc, Papa Mama Kisses in the
I've seen that
background.
photo. That's
Yeah,
great.
which is we were joking about it during top 32 whenever they'd show the Lontaine cam. It's like someone better go in that window and start doing something funny. And,
Good thing I wasn't up there.
oh, I know, and Steph was in the background over there because Osbo, like we mentioned with Denofa, he just went wide in that touch and go. And if there's a wall there, he would have wrapped up into it. And as a result, Field hit him. And we've had multiple instances over these years where the chase driver hits the lead driver and it is deemed the lead driver's fault. And most of the time I agree with it because they had an unfollowable line or reduction in speed. And the chase driver in the sport as it is today has to be so close and can't react in time to not hit them. And if Osbo was online and on track, I think that it wouldn't have been a hit. But I think as a result of that, it was a fair error on Osbo's part. And even though I think if I remember correctly, he had a killer follow against Field, I think Field still edged him out because of that error.
Yep.
Other end of the bracket, Belush and Turk. Turk fucking showed up.
Yeah, I mean, not hating on Turk or anything, but I think everybody just thought that, Kristen's gonna take this. But the thing is, obviously we all know Turk is capable.
Yeah, he's capable. His car usually has broken. He hasn't had the best car over the years. And Turk we're just so used to seeing Turk get knocked out in 16. He almost always makes it to 16. But then 16, maybe 8 is the farthest he's been getting most of the time. And this event was different, and he knocked out Belush, who I thought was going to win the event.
I remember when Turk was always on top. When I first started, Turk was, I think, third in the championship.
Was driving
was that not the Sky? What was the other thing?
The Retax.
The Solstice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after that, he was on the Retax 240.
Yeah, he's always been one of the best drivers out there. I think he just had bad equipment over the years. So if there's... I've always been kind of rooting for Forsberg in my mind for since I've been a fan of drifting, sitting on the sidelines. But this year, I really want Turk, and probably going forward because I want to see him. I want to see him succeed because he gets so pumped when he does well, and again, so bummed when he doesn't. But I don't think this is his year. Of course, I think that he can hopefully dial in further, and maybe next year will be. And that's not to say that this year might not be his year. Everyone's behind James Dean pretty far. Osbo's behind a little bit. But then 3rd place through 8th place are only about 40 to 60 points behind. So it's not likely any of those guys will win the championship, but they could be on the championship podium, so to say. So Turk is potentially... Yeah, the hunt for 3rd is on. And Osbo could definitely... If Peter does well and Osbo does poorly, or Forsberg does well and Osbo does poorly, any of these guys could be second, or Justin, or Turk, or Kristaps. After that, it gets kind of spread out. But yeah, it's still that gunning for second or third. And James Dean is not secured to win. Crazy things happen. So I wouldn't. It's not in the bag, and James would be the first person to tell you that because I was ribbing on him at the bar after the event, saying well, you locked it up, fucker, congratulations. And he's like, no. Even locked it up. How was that impression? Was that good?
That's a great.
Thank you.
And after that, we went conga dancing. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, he went conga dancing. It was Jeff. Were you in that conga line, Jeff?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, he started it.
Did you start that?
I like dancing, man. Okay,
Yeah.
I hear music, start doing things. That's the Hispanic part of me.
Yeah.
I hear music, man. My hips start moving.
That kind of music.
Yeah. I'll dance anything. That's why I'm still waiting for Cory for our dance-off, bro.
When are you guys going to have a dance-off?
I'm going to light Jeff up.
Yeah.
Smack him in the butt.
I'm going to light Jeff up.
Waiting for it, buddy.
No, we talked about...
My shoes are tied.
We talked about this before. We had a big dance battle, me and Jeff in Florida one year, and we had a pretty solid circle, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I walked into this. I think it was you and Matt Field or somebody.
I was taking on 3 people at once.
Are you guys gonna do circle jerk line dancing?
No, we had a big dance circle, and this was in Florida 2012 ish, And
like a car show or something.
It was
random.
a car show. Me and Jeff and all the FD people went to, and I was wrecking fools. I was doing like the finger pistols and every white dance move you can think of, but doing it really well.
Oh yeah.
And then I beat these
fishing
three.
pole.
I beat these three people, and then the final boss comes out, which is Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones makes his way through the crowd, and I watched Jeff Jones, the final boss. I was on the final stage. He gets in the middle and does this weird shuffle so fast, his shoes flew off, and he tripped and fell in front of everybody.
That's great.
And that's when I felt I defeated the champion. So I still own the title.
I spun out, bro.
You totally spun out. You
Spun
put
out.
it into a fence.
I gave you the win.
Well, Jeff, you have an official invite. We just reserved the sickest Airbnb possibly in Charlotte, and it's got a huge dance floor in the middle
St.
of
Louis.
the living room. So after the Charlotte event, you and your whole fucking dance crew are invited, and we're gonna
For the
fucking
dance off.
serve you. You're gonna get
Nice.
served, JJ. You're gonna get served.
Now you have to bring it.
Yeah,
As long as we conga afterwards.
dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, after it's all
You know
done,
what?
and
I'll give it to Jeff. He's fast. His feet is. If he does some really phenomenal footwork, I didn't expect that out of.
his backpack kid is no joke.
No, it's beyond a backpack. This was like a truffle shuffle with your feet, with some sort of sea walkie talkie. He was on fire, but he ended up losing both his shoes.
Oh yeah.
Dude, and the thing was, is when I was battling Jeff, I looked beyond him, and he had an entourage of females behind him.
His shoes DB.
And I was like, wow,
Defeated.
this dude, just to beat it, he should have glued him on. This dude
Yeah.
to
Dan
beat
those
it.
DCs wearing laces out.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that all going down. That was something I'll never forget because I still have my championship belt somewhere around here.
Yeah. More of a Nike kind of guy now.
Hey,
Yeah,
let's.
nice.
Speaking of which of dancing, you were dancing a little bit in Seattle, and Dan Burkett was dancing with you, and he wasn't very good at the backpack kid.
No, there's some white issues there.
There was a lot of white going on.
that was
Yeah,
that
a
was
little
Rad.
white.
That was
so I
Rad
convinced
Rick.
him to go and buy another turtle or whatever else. He ended up picking up the Morty, Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is it Morty or is it Rick?
That was
honestly
Rick.
don't know.
Grow up, fam.
Sorry.
Rad Rick.
I want to send this to Brian real quick.
So he got that, and we had a little battle. There's more to it. There's so much more that we got to put out there.
Hold on.
So much content.
Here, I'm going to send
Yeah.
this to Brian so Brian can play it on the live stream for everybody. But I want to show off Dan Burkett's backpack kid because I figured being a drifter like Dan, you'd be
It was
somewhat
more-
coordinated.
Yeah. Then
Right?
his backpack is
Also-
more like a purse, like a
Also,
purse
Chad's
adult.
blowing me up right now. Apparently, I said Charlotte
Yeah,
instead of
St. Louis. Yep.
Okay, my bad. I meant FD St. Louis. I'm going to Charlotte right after that. I got confused. My bad.
Brian, if you want to go ahead and pull that video up real quick, this is the Jeff. You got the backpack kid down. You are a phenomenal dancer. I'll give that to you. I've seen it in the fleshlight so many times.
You've seen in the flashlight. I've seen. Yeah, you've got that
Fleshlight.
little.
All right, go ahead and make that big, Brian, if you can, or just send it over just like that. All right, so Dan is on the left. Look at the backpack kid from Burkett. Look at that. Just
He's just left.
yeah,
right,
there it
left,
is, and then he gives
that-
up.
He's all over the place. Full on rookie at Long Beach.
Let's see it again.
And
It'll,
then
it'll loop.
they chest
Boom.
bump. Yep. So that's Jeff Jones' pit. You have Dan Burkett.
Oh, it's
doing-
revealed. It wasn't Rick. It was actually Red Dan.
Look at that. It's a beautiful. He has. I don't even know. I can see the attempt, but it's the execution is just
Wait.
very off.
Oh, man,
Well,
that's
also
incredible.
Jeff Jones is in full racing suit.
Still, he hasn't taken it off since.
No, why would I? Why would I?
Yeah, Dan has quite a hip thrust, a very
Yeah.
very solid left right
would-
hip.
I would still say that Jeff, you've got the move down. I think you need to speed it up and add a little more pizzazz to it.
I'm too tall to move it faster. There was this little kid. That's actually Aaron.
Yeah, that
when I
looked
shot
like-
that. His kid was battling me.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
good.
that kid can boogie.
He served everybody on track.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after he tried to get Vaughn to learn it at the end, and Vaughn almost got it. But
He was just a bit better than Dan.
yeah,
Also, did we ever show the highlight of the Matt Field interview with Jeff and Kyle in the background? We should
think
probably
so.
play that too for the streamers because that was a
which
great
was
moment.
good. Don't get me wrong; they were bombing the background. But what if Matt Field was like, "Yeah, actually, my grandma just died because she just died and she got hit by a school bus. And honestly, I'm going through a lot of emotion, a lot of pain right now. And then here comes Jeff Jones and Kyle Mohan doing some dabs in the background.
It was Doc bombing all day.
Just Doc bombing. Okay, here.
The best part is that after that interview happened, went back to Jared, and Jared he obviously he didn't pay any attention to the interview. He just gave the whole Evergreen Stadium an explanation of what the hell is Overwatch. No, Overwatch.
Fortnite.
Come on, Paco.
Fortnite, and like the dancing, and he's like being the cool dad.
Can you zoom in on that? Because you have to zoom in. Big balls.
Control and scroll.
Z. Or just
So
control.
Kyle was doing it too, but he wasn't on camera. We didn't know where the camera was pointed. We were hoping we were back there.
Oh, there you go.
Below us.
All right, so here we go. This is going to be for you viewers out there on the internet land. You were doing, I believe that's called the shoot dance. So if you look off to the right here,
They're backpacking.
they're backpack hitting, and Matt Veal's talking to Lorette, and then the shoot dance starts, and then they start doing the shoot dance train. Jeff, that's more of like an arm pump leg kick. But
Yeah, you like that finisher move right there? I just had to send a finisher move.
Totally. Oh.
Aww.
And then it ends with a. So this is Kyle Mohan's marketing. He uses the GoPro app to edit all his videos, so it leaves the splash at the end.
At least you can
Oh,
get.
is that the one you used?
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
anyways, good stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna get back to drifting now, you fucking sidetrackers.
What
do
is
that.
drifting anyways?
Why for drifting? Let's talk
Well,
about
drifting
JTP
is all about
Kaufman.
sidetracking, Sam. Get it?
JTP and Kaufman. What happened there? I'm trying to remember. I started shooting photos right.
Yeah, and I went downstairs as well, and they didn't let me into the media box because I was
you're wearing your
shorts.
cut-off jean shorts. They're very high. You could see the pockets coming out the bottom.
Those weren't pockets, Sam.
Oh boy.
Anyways,
The
All right,
back
so we're not
pockets?
gonna do that battle any justice. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Or no, excuse me. I'm skipping ahead. That was Odie and Kaufman, not.
Odie and Carpenter have very similar driving as well. They're both aggressive. They're both, S chassis. I think again it was.
I just realized I'm skipping all over the fucking bracket here. I was going to grade 8 before I even mentioned all these.
Let's
top
get to
16
the finals. Let's keep talking to Jeff because
man.
I'd rather talk to Jeff than go over this
battles.
dumb bracket.
Yeah. I just realized that I didn't mention Turk and Die, JTP.
We already watched all the rounds. Man.
Yeah, do you know what? This is about Jeff.
Vaughn-
This is
JTP
about
and Vaughn
Jeff.
is worth mentioning that Vaughn got knocked out because he nailed JTP just a little bit at the very ending. Went off course and couldn't fix his car, which is a shitty thing for him. Osmo and Peter, who cares? Or excuse me, Dean and Peter, who cares? Boring. Just kidding. That's some of the most exciting battles out there. But we've blown those guys up so much. We know they're fucking madmen. Turk and Pollock. Turk beat him. Enough said. Suck at Pollock. Just kidding. Pollock, you're great. We hung out with him on Sunday at turn 10. We want to go into some detail about that probably, but we can't.
Yeah,
talk
but we're
too
talking
much.
about the bracket.
Can't talk too much about that, can we? Can we, Cory? Huh?
But we can talk a little bit.
I guess we hung out there. That's about all we can tell you. Until we're gonna have a very special show coming up mentioning all we did there, but we'll talk about that later. Dean and Turk, can we watch the battle, Brian? I feel like this is an important one, right? Brian.
Yeah,
Can
you have
hear
to give me a minute
I
because
love you.
well,
I love you, Brian. Thanks for the battle.
it's okay, thank you.
I only watched it live while kind of video recording, but I feel like, I'm biased, but I feel like Turk may have won that one. And then I told Paco, I had to do a lens swap. Paco was being a very helpful photo assistant there. And Paco was going to grab the lens. And I was like, oh, is it going to be one more time? And then they announced it's not a one more time, that there's a victor. I was like, oh, shit, man. Turk got it. And then they called for Dean, which was awesome for Dean. But
I got a question for Jeff. Hey, Jeff, is it usually true you drive around with sausage and cheese in your car and that's what you eat for dinner?
Yeah, Vienna sausage.
And you eat you get the whole link, right? I've seen a video of you just.
I don't always do the cheese. Cheese can get a little messy.
Dude, it's
So
so.
a little bit of tapatio.
This is a real deal. This dude drives around with the sausage, and this is what he eats daily. Do you have any with you in the car right now?
Nah, I ate them all.
God dang it!
are you joking? Does he?
No,
does
he drives around with sausage and he eats that for dinner. Like he sleeps in
Lunchables.
his truck and eats sausage every night.
Have you driven across the country? All you have is like whatever you snack on, and you listen to Maximum Driftcast to get across the whole country. That's what
Oh
I do.
yeah.
And a bunch of
I would-
and a bunch of empty water
literally-
bottles.
Yeah, I have to save up
For
shows
peeing.
in
Okay.
between.
Jeff, I'm into cheese and sausage. I don't know why Corey's talking shit on you. Corey
No, I think it's great
literally
because
goes to the fanciest restaurant he can find and orders spaghetti poked through sliced up hot dogs.
That's
Video's
hard to
ready.
eat while you're driving. That's a thing. So you got to get like
Yeah.
okay.
driving friendly foods.
So here's this. So you've pretty much driven across the country 10 times for 10 years straight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've never had anybody else drive your rig. You're the lone wolf, right? You're the sole survivor here. Even your teammate
Yeah.
leaves you in the dust. You're sitting
What
in
a
Kansas
punk.
City.
Used to like 'em.
Yep, used to like them. Me too. You probably see some shit while you're out there. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen some pretty gnarly stuff on the road? You got any road stories? Some road dog stories?
There was a car on fire. I don't know if that was today or yesterday.
saw
I
that.
can't say. That thing burnt down.
What else?
Okay.
I want some road dog stories, dude.
Real quick, White, before you start the road dog stories, please get into it. And Brian, don't play the turk clip until I get back. Stephanie, my girlfriend, just reminded me that I have to put out food for the possum we've been feeding.
Oh
It's-
boy.
Oh my
It's
God.
late at night right now. She's been
Sounds
feeding
dangerous.
it cat food. I got to put some cat food real quick. So yeah, enjoy the story, but don't play that final battle. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go feed a
we're not
possum.
because Jeff is on point and more entertaining.
I don't know if I can tell you stories that I've seen of people or just the dumb things that I have done.
I want to bowl. Because you know what? I think one of the best things about drifting with your friends across the country is driving across the country and doing things.
Oh yeah.
And the stories
And
behind
so,
all
like,
that.
because you think about this, we've talked about this before. You look at the amount of time that goes into prepping the car, getting the car ready, driving to the events. That's 350 days the year. The other 14 days or whatever it is actually driving. You know what I mean? Like the scale
Lot
of
of driving.
working on the car and getting it ready and getting the track is 98% of it when 2% is actually driving. So some of the best stuff actually happens away from the track and happens away from driving. And that goes from, cruising across country or breaking down and hanging out in the middle of nowhere. That happened to me one time. I got stuck in Lubbock, Texas for 4 days because there was no Ford dealership that had a tensioner pulley for the Ford van that we had. So they had to bring it in. They had to bring it in from like El Paso, which is like, oh, it's going to take 3 days.
4 days you were out there.
Yeah, and just a shitty old hotel, and there was nothing around. And, anyways, that's a whole crazy story I could tell on itself because the thing is we broke down on the I-10 like, and you've obviously crossed I-10. You know where Lubbock, Texas is, Jeff?
Oh yeah. I've
Okay.
done them all the way up.
Dude, so we broke down like 15 or 20 miles out of Lubbock, and we had our little Pee-wee motorcycle, like a little Honda 50, and it was me and like 3 other people. So what we did is we pulled the Pee-wee 50 out, and we shuttled people 15 miles back into town, drove back, picked the next person up, drove them to the hotel, and then we got a tow truck to come back. But it's like, that was at like 1 a.m, hopped on a little 50, cruising down the I-10 like Dumb and Dumber. All right, drop my buddy off, Alex, at the hotel. Let me hop back, turn around, pick up my buddy James, drive him back. But yeah, that's when all the crazy
Yeah,
weird.
Matt, Corey, I have so many like nonsense stories that would involve a whole other show.
It was
or-
one.
But
Just
one
give
of
us
the
one- just give
really
us a
funny ones I'll
teaser.
tell real quick.
Yeah, give us
is
one.
A few years ago when I had that black, it was a 95 Ford F-350 with the 7.3. Those things are infamous for the trannies going out on them. And so the tranny went bad, and I was somewhere out in Jersey. We were coming back from Jersey. Didn't even make it very far out of there. But there's a dude named Joe. Everyone calls him Smoking Joe. He drives the big rig for Formula D. Drives the tractor trailer around. He was actually dead hauling home back to LA, and he happens to pass us. And so we're talking, and he's like, "Man, let's just figure out a way to attach your truck to my big rig, and I'll pull you all the way home." So we tried to find some stuff. That whole night didn't go very well, but we got to I think a Harbor Freight the next day or whatever. Found those like the pull bar things that you have that you can pull a small car with. So we got one of those, grabbed some metal from Home Depot, welded up like this crazy gnarly braced up pull bar, welded up a tow hitch for like a regular trailer style to the back of his big rig, and he pulled me across the country. So it was a big rig, my crappy 95 F350, and then the 24-foot trailer that I had behind that. So we were like this triple train nonsense of wonkiness, and we made it all the way to Arizona, and then we got dinged by the weight scale. We almost made it through, but they decided to bust out the tape measure, decided we were too long.
Oh no!
Yeah, so then I was screwed there, and they're like, "You can't leave. We cannot let you go." So I had to burn up my AAA and my Good Sam to get us to a place that we could rent a U-Haul, and then we rented a couple U-Haul trucks to pull the stuff the rest of the way home. So that was interesting nonsense.
So this is going to seem very ignorant to me. What are the weigh stations actually for? I assume they're weighing cargo for like the owners of the companies to like make sure you're not like skimping the cargo out, but that doesn't make any sense, does it? What are weigh stations for?
I'd say first they're probably for safety, but second, it's a way to cities can get money from you, make sure you're paying all your dues, right? Make sure it's matching what it should be.
Well, you have to pay dues based on the cargo you're carrying across states?
I don't know. Cargo weight.
Do you know what I think it is?
Taxes for stuff. I just know they try to bone you for everything.
What's the point of a weigh station?
I think it is based off. I think it's a safety thing. I think it's based off what the weight of your truck is capable worth towing, and if you're towing something that's heavier than what the truck can tow, it's a big fine. So it's based off of what the trailer weight and what the actual vehicle weight can tow. Because if you have something that can tow, 10,000 pounds, and you're actually towing 16,000 pounds. You're a big risk. And so they can literally charge you, I think, $1 to $5 per pound you're actually over a risk of improperly towing a vehicle.
So sometimes I see those huge fucking lines at weigh stations. Do you just have to wait in that line? Like for half an hour? Damn.
Yep, I don't. When you're in a dually, you can just drive right past them.
Yeah, what kind of trucks?
Guys, with the toter homes, if you're just all white, you're not labeled, you could probably cruise right through.
And what kind of trucks have to stop? Is it just commercial trucks? Is that why you guys all have like private, not for hire on the side?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's so much more money if you try to go full, like weigh station corporate. I'm sure like Osbo and those guys. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but yeah, you got to wait for all that and pay for all that. That's why it costs them so much more to go to Canada. Also, I just went in there and was like, "Hey, I'm just going to race," and like. Kyle said he paid legit, had to pay $2,000 just to cross, and he had a small team that last year. Yeah. So I heard stories of what some of the bigger teams pay, like $10,000 just to cross.
Forsberg had to pay some money, and he also had to empty out his nitrous and like drain them all on the spot. Yeah. And he also had to do, I think all teams are supposed to do this at least, is take like an itemized list of every single thing in your truck.
Yeah, that's insane.
He said it took him like 4 days to do. It was insane. Thankfully, I assume that our helpful chat would give us some knowledge here. And David says also the capacity of the roads and the bridges. What else we got here? Regulation on commercial transport. So from Paul. And Chris says it's for smuggling. And I think like definitely the ones where you have to stop when you're going from California to Arizona and back. Like you have to stop and they make sure you don't have a car full of illegals and
coyotes.
But yeah.
Well, the fruit's a big one too. They don't let fruit to go through some.
Yeah, they really want to make sure you're not bringing in illegal fruit because there's definitely different laws for farming.
That's when you just got to be eating an orange when he asks you got any fruit? Nope.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is me and my buddy Gay Kyle decided to take an impromptu trip to Rocky Point from Phoenix, very close Mexican resort town. And first, this is when I managed a valet account, and I only had the next day off, so we get off in the afternoon. He was working with me at the time, and we were like 2 hours outside of town, and I suddenly get a call that one of my valets crashed a Maserati and did $10,000 of damage. That was a fun thing. But then also, we cross the border. We get into, or near the border crossing. We're in Ajo, Arizona, and Kyle gets pulled over in his Ford Focus he was driving, and his registration was expired, and the officer had to tow his car. And the officer was nice enough to offer us a ride, and we're like, all right, just take us to the nearest bar, and he did. There's a place called Pugsy's Place. It was a town of a few thousand people. It was the best bar they had, and it was full of pug dogs, and it was like the middle of the day on like a Tuesday or something. So you can imagine the bar patrons were very friendly. And then our wonderful friend Caitlin picked us up. But as we're driving back through some like border checkpoint, essentially, Kyle is now drunk and asleep in the back seat. The officer, shines a flashlight in the window. He says, "Everyone in this car American?" And Caitlin goes, "Yes." And I go, "Yes." And Kyle, asleep and drunk in the back seat, just goes, "See." And I start laughing. Caitlin starts laughing. The officer just frowns, and he and Kyle is, if you've ever seen the guy, he's very white looking. So the officer's just like, "Fucking get out of here." What an asshole.
Nice.
Brian, do you have that video queued up, dog? All right,
One
let's see
sec.
here. And keep in mind, I can only watch it via YouTube or Facebook with a little bit delay. But
On delay.
yeah, so off the top of my head, I remember that Turk definitely fucked up on the inner clip, and I imagine that's what honestly cost him the battle. So that is what, in my head, at least watching through my camera as I was filming, that's what kind of caused.
I should be
what
able to watch
I
through
thought-
your Skype. There you go.
Yeah, which I thought it was going to be a one more time.
That was a crazy faint initiation, by the way.
I can't see
James
through
Dean.
Skype, so I'm just gonna have to watch and delay here. But let's
So
say
quiet.
he. Oh no, you guys give your commentary. Yeah,
You-
faint from James. He nearly hits Turk. I mean, you're not supposed to. I don't know if they're doing the invisible line there of going into the guy's lane, but
Was the
Turk
big
does a little bit of a
conga
shallow
line.
but good looking follow, very tight follow. A little bit lost at the end of the power alley. Just not, I wouldn't say lost, just a little bit of a stutter maybe. Tags that clip just a little bit, not enough to fuck up, but very effective chase run by Turk. And I think a great chase around the bank, granted a little bit shallow. James still doing a huge feint initiation while in the chase.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe as a result, he's a little bit further from Turk. He definitely is higher on the wall, I think, than Turk. And really dials it in at the end of the bank there. Turk here has a straightened kind of hiccup. James falls back a little bit. All right, James won the battle. I take it back. Turk did really well based off of that run. I think James won.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a one more time just because it
Yeah.
wasn't really that clear, especially from our angle because we were watching on the floor by the track. Yeah, definitely.
Hold on,
looking at
Brian. Does that video keep going? I want to see if I get in there at the end. I go and give Turk a big wet kiss right on the mouth.
sec.
It was like weird.
Oh, boy.
We kissed for like 15 seconds. But yeah, it was.
And the camera's gonna focus on James Dean, I'm sure.
But
There
this
you
is a
go.
good example of the fact that I was trackside, and granted, I was watching through my camera. And like I said, I'm not impartial. I do root for Turk, and I did kind of feel like I should have done it one more time. But now watching it, my opinion has changed, and I think that oh yeah, okay, good. It doesn't show it. That's a very long kiss that I gave him. It does look like James won there fair and square. So
Don't worry,
good on
Jeff.
you, James. He is truly a dominant force in the sport right now to be reckoned with. So, yeah, going forward, are you excited for St. Louis, Jeff? Do you know anything about the track?
I have no idea about the track. You think that we would, right? I know that I think it's in the pamphlet, but I haven't picked up a pamphlet.
Yeah,
to look
someone
at it.
told me that there's a track map in the pamphlet, but I imagine that could have changed by now. But
Yeah, so I haven't looked at that. I looked online. It's not online. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
One thing that I am excited for is I'm usually pretty good at going to a new track, whereas a lot of other teams rely on their data from the year before.
you just raw dog it. as
I
they
just
say.
raw dog it, man. I cruise in there, I drop
Thanks,
a dog
Paco.
bomb,
Thanks,
and I
Paco.
run it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that because that kind of equals the playing field a little bit,
Yeah,
especially with there only being 12 laps, for everybody.
right.
So when you have a smaller team, you all kind of get an equal way of going about this. So
Yeah,
I'm
this
excited
event.
for that. New track
event-
sounds good.
This event is in under 3 weeks, and I go to the website and look up info. There's nothing on it really. Still, I don't know what the track. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a new experience for so many of us, and that's exciting though. Is there's not that many new experiences that we can all have together, minus some weird sexual stuff. I don't doubt, and that'll happen at our Airbnb afterwards, maybe.
Oh boy.
But
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be
Right
cool if there
now-
was like a rotating track, something new every year.
yeah, that's tough though. You can't really. I mean, that'd be cool, granted, but
That would be very tough. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to go to a new area. This is
Yeah.
actually kind of closer to, I think, a lot of our sponsors, up in that region.
Yeah.
That's Doc is from Wisconsin, so I'm going to have a lot of the boys from up there coming down. And I know when Vaughn was talking about it, he said he's got a lot of guys up in that region, a lot of the, what is it, Ford? They
yeah,
got
it's
to be right in that area.
it's close
a
to
lot of the
Detroit. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
Should be good. I'm hoping there's a good turnout. I'm hoping that the grandstands are pretty big. It seems like Texas, I would think Texas would be bigger. Like there's not that many grandstands.
I've always
You'd
wondered.
think
it
there'd be
seems
more
like-
fans.
Yeah, well, the grandstands are always packed. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's not that many of them.
Yeah. There
It's
should be
packed
more.
at like 8,000. Or
Yeah.
I think they could throw in some more. I don't know what they would do to promote it more, but
Yeah.
however we could help that. I think that Texas could be a little bigger. So I'm hoping that. Do you remember when we went to West Palm Beach years ago? How small the grandstands were? There must have been like 5,000 people there.
I didn't make it to
That's
Palm Beach.
bad.
That was before I was on the circuit. But
Okay, so that wasn't that big of a grandstand. I don't know if they were
Yeah.
expecting a big turnout or not. But I'm really hoping that this is going to have a big turnout because I know that there's a pretty large drift community around that area.
yeah.
Cool.
And
I guess
I just actually cool. Thanks for the insight, Puck. But I'm excited for it. I heard that that the build out's going to be cool. I also learned that I'm not going to be at FD Texas, which is my second least favorite round. So that's okay. But this is the first drift event I'm actually missing. I think since I started going like 5 years ago, so that's kind of a bummer. But my best friend Fat Kyle, not to be confused with Gay Kyle from the story previously,
A lot of Kyles.
is getting married. Yeah, I grew up with a bunch of Kyles in college, but he's getting married, and I'm the best man, so I really can't turn that down. It was on the books before FD Texas is on the books, so sorry y'all, but we're gonna pull in just like we kind of did when Cory got explosive diarrhea in Orlando.
Oh boy.
We're gonna pull in someone who gets knocked out in top 32. I hope it's not you, Jeff, but we'd love to have you on the show for the halftime show if by some ill luck you do get knocked out. But we'll see what happens there. And Cory, I'm sure you got some more Jeff questions. We don't have to let him go just yet before we still have Instagram questions.
We have a
mind you.
lot of Instagram questions.
Yeah, I said we had
so-
Instagram questions, so Jeff
Yeah.
can get back on the road and.
So Jeff, you know the fucking deal by now. You listen to our show while you're on the road with eating your sausages. But these are questions from our Instagrammers. We will also, of course, take as many Facebook and YouTube questions as we can get to in real time. If you got to have them, if you want to make sure 100% that your question gets answered, do a YouTube super chat. Give us $1, $5, or $5,000, and we will get to the question. But yeah, let's hit some questions.
I have one right here from username Lorette Nickel.
Oh, fucking great! She's a real firecracker.
Yeah, she's on fire. She's saying, at Jeff Jones Racing, you might be the best high fiver in the pits. No question here, just stating facts. Back to
Dang,
you.
Lorette,
Back to
We
you, Sam.
practice.
asking the hard questions, girl.
We just put out a video about this, I think. It had a little bit of high five going on in there about looking at the elbow when you go to slap.
Yeah. Max Frolic, if you were to start drifting career right now, what would be your first few steps?
Oh, if you were to start drifting right now?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's always been the same. But I think if the question were, are you just going to drift or are you going to be a pro? Because that's really a big difference, right?
Right. Let's say that you're going to just drift.
I think find a car that you like that's rear-wheel drive
Mhm.
and weld the diff, throw a seat in there, a belt, get some cheap tires, go have some fun, upgrade your car slowly, and just drive it. Don't worry about building it all first because it'll probably never get done.
Yeah,
How
good
cars
advice.
are.
And if you were to start your drifting career, let's say you've already got that car, but you want to take it to the next level, how do you do that?
I think planning it out, having it's kind of a business thing, right? You need to have like a 5-year plan in a sense. Possibly even paying a school like myself or Taka's or Chelsea Nanofa's, having an idea of where you're going to go. Because now it's not like 10 years ago where it's kind of random, right? We're all figuring it out. The information's out there. So you can really accelerate yourself if you were to try to go to a school for a few days if you're a driver. It's going to cost a little bit, but I think how fast you're going to accelerate yourself in the learning curve, which, for example, like Alec Hollindale, he came from a drift school. I think he took Taka's class. So there's a few guys who definitely accelerated themselves in that way. But having an idea what you're going to do besides just being random and showing up to the track, if you really want to be a pro, plan out all the events that you're going to go to. Like my buddy Rome, who's on my team, he's literally going to every single track day he can. I think he's got this like idea that he's going to hit 50 track events this year. But he wants his Pro 2 license. He's super hungry. So he's not just going to Just Drift. He's going to Vegas Drift, the Drift League. You know, he's hitting everything that he can afford. He's working his butt off. And, you know, that's kind of what you got to do, especially if, you know, Top Drift's got 60 drivers the first time around. And if you don't qualify because of, a failure or whatever, mechanical failure, you'll be out. So if you're really trying for it, you got to go, pretty hard. But do not go bankrupt because it doesn't always work out.
Well, what's Rome's Instagram handle? He sounds hungry. Let's give him some love. What's his
Boy,
deal?
you think I would know that, right?
You're a bad team
I'm
manager.
sorry.
Dodd.
Such a bad team manager.
All right, well, you go and comment or let us know later.
I
Rome.
will tag you what Rome is. Yeah, Rome and my buddy Alpha. Alpha's from Mexico, and he would drive up to help me finish the Z.
Yeah.
And him as well is doing the Drift League and a few of the other battles, trying to get in there. It's doable. I definitely want to tell everybody that it's still doable. It's not out of reach.
Definitely.
I think that's the number one thing. Is a lot of guys are hitting me up at my Instagram, and they always say, "How do I get into this? Is it too far out of the reach? Like, I wish I could be like you." It's like, man, you guys could all do this in like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing that I've always said, and maybe I'm wrong, is I say like, don't get into it unless you think you can beat James Dean. Like, do you think in a head-to-head you can beat James Dean? I mean, I know you can because you pretty much beat Peter, but I mean, do you think you'll beat James Dean half the time?
Is this like a Matt Field kind of answer?
No,
Like
I mean Matt Field.
like,
you know how Matt
I'm
Field
here to
answers,
win,
obviously,
baby.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly. No,
Dude,
I do believe that I have the talent to definitely go against any one of these guys.
The way I see it,
Go ahead.
Jeff, if you and James Dean went head to head, back to back to back to back, I think in at least 4 battles you would take him. Like at least, you know.
My name is Jeff.
Hi.
My name is Jeff. Well, there's
but do you think that you have to have that sort of temperament getting into the sport? Like, do you have to be in Pro 1 drifting if that's your goal, and to make let's say not make a living, but let's say break even with your life, and do this for a couple of years and have the time of your life hanging out with us at the rounds and doing what we do? Do you think you have to have the mentality that like you better be fucking good enough to beat James Dean half the
I
time?
don't think that you have to have that mentality. There's all kinds of different personalities in Formula D, and it's what makes it the sport. I'm
Right.
kind of laid back. I totally feel that if we throw any of us in like a rented Mustang, I'll give everyone a run for their money.
Spec
Obviously,
series.
they're
Let's
bigger.
do it.
Yeah, but you know, some guys are laid back and then they kick in a lot harder later on. Some guys just drive in really hard at first, and you know, it either works or it doesn't for them. So I don't think that you have to go in with the mindset that you're going to beat everybody. It's definitely helping in the confidence game.
Definitely.
Question from Throat Whistle 3.
That's a good one.
Is All Star Bash dead?
We used to have a lot of fun at All Star Bash. I used to go there and DJ. We'd party it up. I think, you know, things have gone more towards like grid life and styles like that. I don't think it's dead. I think it's just Willow Springs has been around longer than most of these tracks, right? Like a lot of us have gone there for drifting. So maybe it's just not as big as it used to be. Not dead. It's just not prime anymore.
Interesting. Here's another one. This is from 666 Drifter. What's your go-to for pre-drift music? Just trying to figure out if you're an actual good role model or just a play one on live stream.
What?
Well, in the last 2 years, I listened to a lot of Macklemore, and that's because most of his music's whatever. Most of his
he's
music's
good.
super happy, a lot of positive things. I used to like a lot of Eazy-E, NWA, and that's all really fun.
Okay.
But you know, there's attitude versus happiness, and I think all this year, last few years, I've just been smiling a lot more. So usually I'm just listening to something like that. My Pandora is usually either Macklemore or maybe Guns N' Roses.
Should you go for more good vibes than aggressive? I'm going to tear this place up.
It should be
Yeah,
lose
I'm
yourself
not
in
trying
the
to get in a
music.
fight.
You want it.
Yeah.
Come and get it. You never know what to.
Damn.
See, I like both ends of the spectrum. Like I'll do a little Enigma, Return to Innocence, but then also I'll do a little bit Ronnie James Dio, Holy Diver.
You
Like,
do
know,
take
I'm
it in both ends of the spectrum, Sam. That's a good point.
I don't understand.
Remember-
Please explain.
Remember when Vaughn used to always play Sweet Home Alabama?
Yep. Well, I think he's a Kid Rock fan.
God, he
honestly.
is a Kid Rock fan.
We were joking at the last Grid Life at Midwest, which, by the way, we are, not that it wasn't unconfirmed at all, but Paco and I are confirmed going there again. Corey's going to be there. All three of us are going to be there. Corey, you driving, of course,
Yep.
right? Fuck yeah. So, yeah, Grid Life,
dude.
we're all there. Grid Life Atlanta coming up August
22nd, 3rd, 4th, and
Where's
5th.
Buy
Hey,
your
I
tickets
really
now if
want
you
to
don't
go
have
to
them.
that.
Dude, it is
So-
the best event on earth.
It's
Get
gonna,
there.
It's going to ruin your
I
life.
probably can't get my car there, so
Well, even if you
got a
can't get your
car,
car
I
there,
can,
we'd love to have you,
farm.
and you can bum rides and say hi to your fans and all that. But you could even announce with us. Pat Gooden did it last time. We didn't even ask him to be there. He sucked, but he was still
If you
there.
get there, if you just take your car, I will pitch in gas money so you can tow mine back.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
there you go. August 23rd, 4th, 5th, or maybe 24th, 5th, 6th, I don't remember. But it is Saturday. Saturday the 25th is the biggest day. Grid Life South, Road Atlanta. It's the best event of the year. I can't wait for it again. But
That was a good radio plug. Did they pay you for that?
no, they don't. Well, I mean, they hire us to announce. So, I mean, by some
Got it.
definition. But if I swear, and I say this with all earnest sincerity,
It is.
they hire us to be announcers for the drifting section, I would go there. No doubt,
Yeah.
100% of the time, because it is such an insane, cool event. And full disclosure, like, I don't know any of the artists that are going to be there. Like, I guess I'm just too much of a 32-year-old at this point to know all these damn kid bands, even though I listen to a ton of electronic music and a ton of whatever you want to call it music. But the bands are always cool. But the driving is what it's about. The driving and the fans. Like, everyone's so fucking crazy. It's the best.
Yeah.
Anyways, get there, Jeff.
Real
Good luck.
partying.
I want to go.
Macho Man Randy Sanchez. Would you rather eat cat food for the rest of your life or have both pinky toes and fingers removed?
Wait a minute. How many fingers do I get to keep? And
well,
realistically,
just-
do I get tapatio with the cat food? Because that's not that.
Hold on. One thing at
I
a
like
time here.
tuna.
Well, let's slow this down. All right, so we have a would you rather. Classic would you rather. Cat food for the rest of your life or have both pinky toes and fingers removed. I assume he means pinky fingers, pinky toes. So, and let's say in the cat food scenario, yes, you can have tapatio.
I'm really good with either one of those. I feel like. I mean, the only thing I use my pinky for is like when I'm putting pinkies out on the drinks,
Picking
Yeah.
up,
right?
picking
What does
up
a pinky
your
toe
nose.
really do? I don't know. Pinky finger.
It helps you
toe.
with your
And
balance.
what's the answer then, Jeff?
If the cat food is similar to tuna,
Fancy
and I can
feast.
put tapatio on it,
Yeah.
fancy feast, I think
Yeah.
I'm down.
There you go.
See, the thing is, without a pinky, you won't get a stinky pinky.
Well,
so-
that's the good news, Jeff, is that you chose the right answer because Macho Man didn't say it, but he alluded to it. Is that in the both pinky toes and fingers removed situation, all of the food that's left on the earth is cat food. So in that situation, you'd lose both pinky toes and pinkies, and you'd still have to
Still
eat
have
cat
to
food.
eat cat food.
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
You know-
So you chose right.
I'll tell you this. Going through the Instagram questions, there's a lot of them that are complimenting on your dancing, Jeff. And I'm realizing you're turning into the Ellen DeGeneres of the drifting scene.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Also, real quick, Jeff, even though you're not a good friend and team manager to Rome, both Chris Mady and Macho Man Randy came up with Rome's Instagram handle. It is @RomeCP. So thanks. If you
Wow,
want
that's
to go
so
give
hard.
that
Wow,
hustler a
thanks,
follow.
Jeff. What a
I don't
team
even
manager.
know what's on his Instagram. He could just have a bunch of sick shit, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Go take a look. I don't know. He
He's
sounds
got a
like
nice beamer.
he sounds
you
like
go.
a hustler though, and I always want to give the dudes working hard some pump if we can. So
All right. Quick
got some more
question.
questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question right here. This is you have to answer fast. From Chris JDSS.
I'm going blue.
Cuddle, carry, consume. Chris Forsberg, Christina Aguilera, and churros. Go.
cuddle, carry, consume.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. Cuddle, curse, consume.
So you got
It's
to
like-
eat one, you got to cuddle one, and then you got to
Carry the other one, and then
one.
consume the other one. So between Chris Forsberg, Christina Aguilera, and churros.
This is new. I like.
Yeah, this is new. Without getting in trouble, can you consume Christina Aguilera?
Yeah. You heard?
Oh,
Oh!
I mean that, but I mean that's literally.
I would cuddle with the churro.
We're
You
talking
would,
about
goddamn right you
cannibalism, right? Let's
Yes.
be clear.
Cannibalism.
Okay.
Hold on. Now I gotta switch this up.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
I
rough.
feel like he's kind of throwing you a bone or literally throwing you a churro with this churro one. I think you
Yeah,
eat the
right?
churro. And I think
Yeah.
Christina and Chris, who do you carry? Who do you cuddle? That's tough.
Chris.
Well,
Chris
Chris
did give me doors.
it's definitely lightweight.
yeah, he's like
Yeah.
135.
Oh, I don't know. He's tall, but he's skinny.
Yeah, but he's
Christina
like
Aguilera. She had her years.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Christina
When it, was,
Aguilera.
when it was Christina versus Britney back in the day, I was all
Oof.
team Christina.
Where are you, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
No,
Oh,
Definitely.
100%.
Brittany.
You were team Britney?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Gotta work, bitch.
Yeah.
Good job.
Nice. Sorry, you got to answer that.
Oh, hello.
So it looks like Jeff's going to
Oh,
take
yeah.
a second.
Life
They're
and
back.
Um,
There you go.
yeah, I'm eating the churro.
Eat the churro.
Yeah, eating the churro. We got
Yeah.
that. Then what?
I think I would just take the straight approach here.
Mhm.
I'm cuddling with Christina Aguilera and carrying Chris.
That's I guess that'll work.
It's a safe. All right, Corey, what would you do?
Um,
Well, you threw in that cannibalism part, so.
Well, that's what
Wouldn't
it
know that.
means, Jeff. Jesus.
well,
I would consume Chris Forsberg and absorb his powers.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'll
that's what
become-
happened. Jeff, you didn't ask the good questions here.
Yeah.
That's what happens
Nobody
when you
said
consume
you
him.
get
Yeah.
to absorb
Yeah.
You
power.
didn't ask, Jeff.
Oh my god.
I would.
Yeah.
Even
Cuddle-
though you think I would choose Chris in this aspect, I'd go Christina Aguilera, and then I would just sing all the time.
Yeah, well, you
You
do
do
have a
have
beautiful
pipes.
singing voice. After. Sing that song you used to sing, Jeff. Sing that song.
Which one? I've got
go-
big balls.
Just go sing it.
I got big balls.
Sure, that's a classic.
Is that like
That-
that's
that's
the
a-
remix?
yeah,
I got
that's-
big. I like big butts.
That's
It's
my karaoke jam. I either sing that or Lit.
No, you
um,
sing. I like big
My
balls. And I
car's in the
cannot
front
lie.
yard.
Oh, how's
dude.
that go? Let's hear it.
Which one?
Lit song.
The Lit song? Oh man, I don't know the lyrics. I gotta have the karaoke thing. You know, it's like I came in through the window last night. The car's in the front yard. Something, something.
And
Yeah, I'm usually
clothes on.
yeah.
Oh my God, Jeff!
Yeah,
There you
sick.
You are back
I
to
got it.
Junkyard Jones again.
Just like that.
God damn it! Just like that, you started singing lit songs from '98.
Did you guys drink all the Doc bombs yet? Okay, catch up.
Well, I just looked over and Brian's beer bonging one up his little sphincter right now. He's on his. I see 4 empty cans around him. The funnel's full again.
Oh, he's gonna be awake all night.
Brian's just running all over the place. High on,
Screaming, running
high on
around.
Doc.
Let's see. Looking through the questions.
Probably not one normal question.
Alan Union's got a good one, I guess. Can you give us an angry or frowny face? Just want to know if it's possible for you to not be smiling.
Oh God, that's
Here.
Oh, there he is.
There
He's
it is.
turtle
All
heading.
right, they're-
Oh, that is
Yeah,
a frowny face.
frowny.
Now that I think about it, all the Ninja Turtle faces are kind of constipated looking.
Yeah, they are.
they're
Some of
turtling.
that.
Everybody knows turtles, like, they're constipated by nature.
Ben Tranter with a real one. How many zip ties do you use to actually get a zip ties sponsor? Are you sponsored by a zip tie company?
Yeah, they make our clothing, our T-shirts.
What?
So yeah, they're out in Florida. They make our cool. I think
What
I
are
got one hiding behind me. Hold on.
They're
What are
not
they
a zip
called?
tie company?
No, they don't actually make zip ties,
Oh.
but they call themselves zip ties.
Oh.
And they made our team gear this year. I don't know if you can see that,
Nice.
Pretty
but
cool.
I got this, and I think they made some bandanas that we're gonna have in St. Louis.
Nice.
So
Nice.
They're pretty cool. Cool guys.
Jeff,
Hooking
you
us up because that's just one of those things. It's really hard to do by yourself without having people help.
Yeah. I think we had some questions in Facebook and YouTube. Let's see.
Well, while you get there, real quick, how many from K Mats? How many bolts do you need to unscrew and remove the Edelbrock supercharger?
It is 4 per side, 5 per side, 5 per side.
That's it.
So
10.
10 bolts
Yeah.
and you'll take that bitch to the podium.
There you go.
Yeah,
Make it
straight
happen.
intake manifold. Probably cut the Gates belt off of it just to make it quicker.
Rip it.
You know, there'll be a little bit of
Use
fuel
those
leaking
muscles
here
and
and there.
rip it.
Dude, I would love
Yeah.
to see that. If you need some help, we can Nancy Kerrigan some cars next round. And
Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah.
What is the car equivalent of Nancy Kerrigan then, Corey?
Oh, boy.
well, you just take the superchargers to the podium, Sam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I was thinking about fuel leaking. I was thinking, you could drink that stuff too that we're running now. Kyle made me switch to ethanol, so we get hooked up with the Thunderbolt. And they're one of Kaufman's sponsors up in Oregon.
You
I
can
hear you drink it, man.
You can drink it?
I heard. Yeah, I heard that's what Kaufman does.
No,
Sipping on the ethanol.
that's kind of
So-
crazy.
So here's a good question from Julian Simmons. I also want to do an honorable mention for all the people in the chat that thought I was a lot older than 32. Fuck you guys. And Julian says, my question is a 2-part question. What's up with the S14? Will it be a demo car or a backup
Sad thing.
car? And then also have you and Kyle Mohan tried drifting each other's cars? But first, the S14, what's up?
So I had to steal some parts from that because parts came in late. So I haven't gotten to put that thing back together yet. It will eventually become a demo car that I will try to sell to some rich guy from some other country, so I could probably try to buy a house one day.
How much are you going to sell that car for?
Well, I mean, what's the trend? You start at like 70, and then it wheels all the way down to like 20.
Yeah, you get like 40 for it, I think, at the end.
Yeah, unless you find, Charles Ing or something.
But I mean, it's an FD spec S14 with an LS and essentially a turnkey car
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely upgrade that sucker, put it back to full, tilt.
Yeah, would someone dominate Pro 2 with that car if they had the skill?
I think people could dominate Pro 2 in like a pretty basic car if they were consistent. So yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. So 40 grand, asking 70 OBO, 40 grand takes it, but probably 70.
Mm-hmm. So what was the other question there?
The other one was now that you and Mohan are teammates, have you tried drifting each other's cars?
Here's the deal. August 5th, there is a demo that me and him are going to do in Jefferson Speedway up in Wisconsin. So that's just a big drift day. It's a demo, but we're going to have some fun. I think that's the plan, is to actually do some kind of stupid video where we hop in there and see if we can even try. Because I don't know if you've seen Kyle's car. He drives like a T-Rex. Like his wheel is just like right here. And he's like,
it's like a bus driver.
So I don't even know if I could do that. And then he's in my car, and you know I like lean way back. So I don't know how he does that. He's tall as I am. So we'll see if I can get it moving.
Yeah. I am satisfied with these questions. You boys got any others?
Yep. Well, actually, I have a question for you, Jeff, and you're gonna help us.
For you, Jeff.
Jeff, you're gonna help us do a giveaway.
Sweet. I like giveaways.
So for those who want to know how the giveaway works, this is for our Patreons. So, yep.
Oh!
So everybody who is
Why is Cory yelling?
Because
I got excited. I got excited, dude.
Everybody who is in our Patreon right now gets to be part of this giveaway.
Yep.
If you are a $1 Patreon, you get 1 entry. If you have $3 Patreon, you get 3 entries into this. You have more chances to win. If you're a $5 Patreon, you get 5 chances. So,
and hypothetically, if you're a $5,000 a month Patreon, you get 5,000 chances.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's up to you.
I just want to throw it out there. You know,
we do have a $20 Patreon.
We do, and we've told him not to, and he won't stop.
And he still do it. I think he's trying to stalk us. I think he just wants to be part of Cory's team.
I don't know. I love it.
Are we going to recognize his
So,
Patreon
hold on.
or
What are
not?
we giving away? Paco? Come on.
An AM intake.
Full intake system.
Yeah, like what this is like if you win, we're going to contact you. We're going to ask you, what car do you have?
Yep.
If they make a full, complete intake for that car, you get that
full,
complete
intake.
Complete.
Can we say it at the same time? A
Is
full,
this how we're
complete
giving away?
intake for that car.
Was
Is
that
this how
Sam?
we're giving away our intake, or do we have a second one?
No.
We have a full
Listen,
system, Sam.
God damn it!
Give me
I quit.
something.
I'm out of here.
You guys didn't fill me in.
I know. We just got a message earlier, so we're busting it out on you. Surprise, Sam. Guess what? It's a
Surprise.
full intake system.
Yeah.
All the piping, the cone filter, the
Look,
branding.
we know you guys listen to the show. We know you guys like laying some pipe. And
Yep.
if you're a girl, you like laying pipe too.
And your new AM filter owner, Jeff Jones, because apparently he's getting hooked up. He's gonna help us do this giveaway because he's gonna give us a number between 1 and 78.
Ooh. I'm going to go.
Don't do 69.
Oh no, don't go just yet. Give us a number.
I know you want 69.
I think my average qualifying score is always something like 74. So
74.
70.
All right, this is for a full AM intake with
All right,
the
guys,
piping.
give me a drum roll.
not that I like it.
We got a drum roll.
And our winner is Jordan Selner.
Who the fuck's Jordan?
Who's Jordan? Paco?
It's
Jordan.
Jordan.
Is friend of
Hello.
EF.
I am Jordan from planet
Jordan.
Jordan Selner.
There it is.
He's a $3 Patreon, so
Hey.
you got 2
Yeah.
chances.
Yeah,
And
Jordan.
Jordan,
$3.
Jordan,
Want some stuff.
we're gonna message you. Hopefully, you have a car, and
And
we're
we
gonna
get
ask
that
you.
intake system out
If
to you.
not, you can put on your mom's car. She's
From-
gonna get guaranteed horsepower.
And so that your mom could
better
suck
gas
more.
mileage.
What state is MN? Minnesota
Yeah.
or Montana?
I'm not good with my gynecology.
Yeah.
So Jordan Selner from Sartell MN gets
Congrats,
the
dude.
win.
Awesome.
Thanks, you've been a
Also,
fan of the
lastly,
show.
guys,
Jordan,
if you
real quick,
didn't,
Jordan's been a fan of the show for a while. I recognize that name very well.
So do I.
And thanks for being a fan and a Patreon, Jordan.
Also,
Good job, buddy.
Here's the other thing too. Also,
Thanks, Jeff.
if you did not win an AM intake system for the month of July, you can buy an AM intake system and get a $25 cash back gift card. So
what?
yeah, so don't forget, you can buy those anywhere. You can buy them at any major store as long as you can provide a proof of you purchasing an AM intake system. You get $25 cash back on that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is our friend Jeff Jones. He's the man.
Jeff, do you have air filtration sponsor right now?
No, Edelbrock provides a generic one with it.
Okay.
So
So
I
are
could
you
definitely use some AEM on
are you
there.
are you in the market?
I'm in the market, buddy.
We got to get you already had AM on your suit before. You got to get AM on that.
Yeah,
We
I
know-
used to be
we know
sponsored
okay.
by K&N, then they kicked me down to the when it was K&N, then I went to AM,
Yeah.
and then yeah,
Well, good thing they sent you to AM because that's a better brand anyway. So,
pretty good brand. I like.
So
Well, maybe you could become a Patreon of the show, and if you're lucky, someone else in the future could pick your number.
I could probably spend $1.
No, it's
Yeah, you said that you rely on our show to get you across the country with all these hours you do. Why don't you $1 an episode, Jeff? That's $4
No.
a month.
Do you know,
lazy piece
Sam?
of shit.
Sam, I want
Right.
I want to disagree with you, Sam, because you know what?
Yeah.
That $1, we need to put that back into Jeff's pocket so he can keep entertaining us week after week on the drift track.
How about
'Cause we
this?
need
I give
people.
you $1, you give me $1. We'll meet each other in the middle, and then I'll crush you in a dance competition.
Yep.
Ooh,
Crush you.
you better bring it.
And I'm going to bring
bring it.
Jordan Yellner with us.
Jordan Yellner will also be bronghing it. Bronghing it? That's a word.
But
I
Jeff,
was waiting for the comeback.
oh,
Try
sorry.
again.
Yeah,
You
go
better
ahead.
Bring it.
Oof.
I've already been brought it, my dude.
dude, if you bring the beef,
Dude,
I'll bring the
dude.
tacos, dude.
Ooh.
Speaking of, I'm actually gonna when we shut this down, I'm gonna ride my bike down the street and get some Authentico street tacos.
You don't even know how to ride a bike, you idiot.
You don't even know how to ride.
Don't even.
He's still got training wheels. He's
Yeah,
good.
Sam, you still have training wheels. You're a doy, dude. Get out of here.
dog.
Jeff, thank
Let's
you.
put down.
Shut. Can I talk to my friend Jeff? He doesn't care about you anymore, Sam.
I know.
Jeez, man, Sam, the interrupter. We're going back to episode 1 through 100.
Oh,
where Sam
cool. You
interrupts
wanna
every
do this?
episode.
Sounds about right.
I
You wanna-
thought we
I'll
outgrew
fucking
that.
Crush you in a dance off. I'll
I thought
fucking
we
crush
outgrew
you
the
all day.
Sam the interrupter.
You're just gonna do the worm the whole time.
Sam, I'm gonna put you in a wormhole. That means I'm gonna take you intergalactic and send you somewhere I don't know where you go. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, I apologize, everybody, that you had to deal with that argument. But
I wanna say
Sam
sorry
really
about
just
Cory's
ticked me
behavior.
off.
Corey hasn't been this good. The show has been a little off. Paco and I and Jeff, honestly, have kind of been discussing dealing with it in some pretty harsh way. So Corey might not be in a lot of future episodes. Sorry, everyone, but it's it's what you guys are asking for. I receive like 15 emails a week, personal ones saying, Corey, I hope you fucking get mauled by a giraffe.
Sam, you're such a cyber bully, dude, and I'm ready to take you on.
If you get anywhere near me, I will
Yes.
call 911.
You guys are on fire.
Oh, you're gonna call 911 on me?
Bye.
Well, I'm gonna call Jeff Jones.
Oh,
There you go.
There you
I'm gonna
go.
call Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Jeff Jones in a half shell. That's the name of the episode.
Ah,
Jeff Jones in a half shell. All
Jeff
right,
Jones in a house
Jeff.
shell.
Bam.
we want to.
All
All
right,
right,
done.
so let's wrap this up with Jeff because he still has to drive to whatever country he's
I
driving
have
to
a
right
long
now.
way to go.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna drive tonight or are you gonna crash?
I'm gonna get a few more hours in.
Oh my
I got
God.
800 more miles to go.
Oh man, well take it easy, please.
Well, if you walk
focus. Don't have-
400, I'll walk 400 more. We'll be the man that walk 800 miles. So if we can,
Don't have too many dock plugs, whatever you call them when you do your thing. with
No,
the butt.
I'm just straight docking it right now.
All right, straight up
Yeah,
docking.
I'll be up all
what's
night.
the
Straight
weirdest
docking.
thing you've ever docked with?
Uh, how do you answer that?
Just promote your drink.
No,
Yeah, let's put the drink to your mouth and slowly.
Have you
hit
ever
the end
docked with
call
like
button.
your?
Right.
Have you ever docked with any family members before? Any close friends? Anybody that you've ever?
All right.
been-
Thanks for coming on the show, Jeff. Sorry about Corey once again. We're going to be dealing with this problem real soon. And Jeff, we can find you at Jeff Jones Racing on Instagram. We can find you as the most happy, smiling guy in FD, and honestly, one of the most improved and our favorite drivers. And
Yep.
thanks for spending the time with us. Can't wait to see you on Lorette's interviews for the rest of the year because you're only gonna get more excited. And
Plan.
we're gonna see that Galdang Edelbrock Supercharger on the podium before sooner than later, I would say.
That's
Thank you guys for having me.
that's
Thanks,
that's
Jeff.
Matt Field
Thanks,
saying
Jeff. You're
goodbye
the
to you.
freaking man. Stay in that driving suit if you would.
Stay focused. Stay safe.
All night.
Love you, buddy.
Pee on
All
it.
right, Jeffy. We'll see you later. My name is Ian.
Yeah, buddy.
Bye-bye, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Is he gone? Is he gone already? I need to
I
talk
hung
so
up
much
on him.
shit about him.
Brian,
Oh my God.
Brian, hang up on that butthead.
No.
I don't want to talk shit on drivers anymore because I got Cory right here.
You want to argue with me, Sam?
Yeah. Yeah, I hope a fucking goldfish climbs in your throat when you're swimming in a lake and you
Okay.
choke on a goddamn goldfish and you die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remember that. I'll remember that when I'm feeding a goldfish out of my mouth into your friend's mouth, and then you have to watch it happen.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I read today that some goldfish, the actual snack had to be recalled for salmonella, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It only happened to
Well, the
like,
thing is, you would never expect a goldfish to have salmon manila.
salmonella. Well, I thought that only happened to perishable food items. I didn't realize that. Yeah, Logan. Logan just said, "Fuck him up, Sam." I'm gonna fuck.
Oh, Logan. All right.
That's right.
Logan, you don't even know this because it happens behind the scenes. But every time I see Cory, like
Logan said,
because we live in separate states now. Whenever I see Cory, like at the airport or when we get to the hotel or the track, I just immediately start fighting him.
Yep.
And I show him how fast my fists move.
Do you
They
know
go
what?
fast.
You can't spell Logan without log. So don't come at me sideways, Sam.
His name is Logjam.
Log jammer.
Yeah. Are we
LJ?
are we gonna see you in Atlanta?
God.
Because we always see him at Midwest for Grid Life. So he might be able to, be the judge
he's a-
on the fight.
Yeah,
Thanks, Logan. You're on my fucking team. Cory, it's 2-1 now, you piece of shit.
I don't. It's all right, Sam. You're built like a little baby. It's going to take 6 of you to take me
You look
on.
like a
Bill.
fat baby.
You're
look
built
like
like a
a
5'5" little baby, Sam.
You look like a 2-year-old who fucking ate a bunch of radioactive waste. Grew up too fast.
Became a mutant. For those who don't know, Cory's actually 9 years old.
God damn it, Sam.
Oh my God! All right, so I guess with that being said, we're gonna send you guys to oblivion because we've been at it for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Is this our longest episode ever?
Yep.
Probably
That should be the name of the episode.
longest episode
ever
ever.
starring Jeff Jones.
I hope that you get fucking mauled by a panther.
I hope a little man comes up into speedballs your little satchel.
Oh boy, speedball and satchel. Everyone, by the way, in the YouTube is saying my cat is escaping. The door that you see open in the background is just to the litter box. It's actually just escaping some
Escaping
cat
reality.
from a yeah. So it's just like a little room, unless there's actually a hole in the wall behind me, and then there's a hole in the wall where the naked cats crawl.
You ever seen the movie Cat's Eye?
No, but it sounds wonderful. Go on.
Look it up. It's,
Hey,
with Drew Barrymore. It's an old 80s movie. It's with cats in it. It's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, that sounds wonderful.
You just reminded me of it, what you said, so I thought I'd throw that at you.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Big Trouble in Little China?
Of course.
Best movie ever fucking made. Am I right, guys?
One of, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
All right, guys. Well,
That's it.
that's it.
Great episode.
Thank you to
So,
AM Intakes for
Takes and Takes for,
sponsoring the halftime
sponsoring the
show
show.
and being sponsor of the podcast. Thank you to
Podcast.
Nexen Tire.
Nexen Tire.
You guys.
You
kick ass.
guys.
Thank you to
You guys
Motegi
make
Racing.
tires.
Thank you.
You got to make wheels.
No, they only make, Nexen Tire only ever made one tire. It's very rare. So that's why I call it Nexen Tire.
It's a Nexen Tire. SUR4G is what FD runs. Thank you, Nexen. What else, Sam? Go ahead. Start it off.
I already said them all.
And
Did I?
Motegi Racing. Thank you, Motegi Racing, because Sam just talks so fast and he mumbles. It sounds like he has a bag of
Mumble.
marbles in his mouth. So I don't
Take
know what
that
he's
saying
saying
of-
half the time.
You got a bag
I
of
was going to
mouth,
ask Sam what he ate for dinner, but it looks like he chewed on a bag of granite rocks because his
Cat
mouth
food.
is mangled.
Cat
I'm
food.
going to go street tacos. I already mentioned that. I wish
Street
you'd pay
tacos.
attention.
First of all, Sam, you ride a bike without the seat. You just sit on the post, but that's okay.
Hey, Cory, why don't you pull those dicks out of your ears and fucking pay attention?
What? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sam, I had dicks in my ears. Why don't you pull them out of your mouth so I can understand what you're saying?
What's going on? All right, guys.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. I love you, Sam. Love you, Pocky. Love you, Brian.
Thanks,
Love you
Brian.
guys for watching.
Love you
We'll
guys.
see you guys next week on Maximum
Cory.
Driftcast.
Max
I hope the
Driftcast.
tornado comes. And the house
End it,
falls
Brian.
on you.
End it, Brian, before he says anything.
Lemonparty.com
Bye, guys.
/Cory Hosford.
Check out Cory at lemonparty.com.